frustrating about Chris Middleton, Skip. You see that. He's an all-star. And then you see him go for 20 in the fourth quarter, 38 overall, and then you watch him at games, he'll go 6 for 23 and score 15 points.
Wonder why that is. Huh?
Well, I guess
I have a theory about that, but I'll save it.
You have a theory about that. So I think that was the difference in the ball game. Also, Skip, is that they let Trey get yours. Get you 35. Be happy. They made him a scorer and not a scorer and a playmaker. If you look at game one, Skip, 48 and 11. Well, the leading assist guy for this game was Herter. Herter can't hurt you facilitating an offense. It's Trae Young. Everything is driven through Trae. And once they let Trae do his thing as far as scoring, no one else really came along. Gallinari was trying to come along. But when you get Chris Middleton go for 38 and 10, and you get Giannis go for 33 and 11, 33 and 12, they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. And Budenholzer, he still played, Skip, of anybody on the Bucks that played at least 7 minutes. Only one guy had a negative rating. I'll give you one guess to guess who that was. Of the people that played, how many guys they played? They played 1, 2, 3, they played 9 guys, 10 guys. Only one guy had a negative rating. Chance opportunities. So, Skip, I don't believe, it's frustrating because it was such a freak accident. I know the official that Trae Young foot that he stepped on, Sean Wright, been on him for 20 years. It was just a freak accident, Skip. The guy, he was just standing there watching. Trae shoots the ball, steps back, steps on his foot. And I know it's frustrating. I know it's sore. But I do not believe that had an impact on the game. I don't believe they would have won because, Skip, once the Bucks got rolling in the fourth, they had no answer for that. So Chris Middleton combined with Giannis, that was too much for even Trae to overcome. So I do not believe the foot had an impact on the ultimate outcome of the game.
I cannot tell you how much without Trae Young, increased it to 5.
Right.
So when he finally came back on the floor, they're up 93 to 88.
Right.
So if he had been Trae Young, all caps, I believe they would have gotten that home because that crowd was crazed with Cam there. Cam Newton was there. Floyd was there. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was there. It just felt like one of those electric event nights when it would have been Trae Young's night to shine. And instead, on the run and on the ropes. And what did Trae Young do in game 2 at Milwaukee Friday night? He came out flat and uninspired and just seemed like, you guys take this if you really want it. And he
I thought they bodied him Friday night. Well, they got on him. They was on a true holiday saying, you ain't going to do this to me.
He shot 6 of 16 to Trae Young and 1 of 8 from 3. And I keep saying he is a lousy three-point shooter. People try to compare him to Steph Curry. It's just outrageously, blasphemously wrong. He can't do that. So far through the playoff run, he's shooting 33% from 3, which ranks 87th of 106 qualified playoff three-point shooters. It's just pathetic. Curry, it's just outrageously, blasphemously wrong. He can't do that. So far through the playoff run, he's shooting 33% from 3, which ranks 87th of 106 qualified playoff three-point shooters. It's just pathetic. And last night, obviously in the fourth quarter, it went south. So if this was the end of the Atlanta Hawks, as at least I knew and loved them, you betrayed them and sold them out. You picked Milwaukee. But if this were the end of the Atlanta Hawks,
The end of the road.
Wouldn't this be a fitting left turn once again for this injury-riddled playoffs? That even Atlanta lost its budding superstar in the most bizarre ankle injury I have ever witnessed.
I think he shot the ball and saw that it was missed, and he was going to try and get back on defense, so he was going to try and sprint back.
But usually you just go. You know, your 2 feet are on the floor, and you just spring. He's got maybe the best spring in all of basketball. And all of a sudden, he has to step way back with his right foot. And he rolled over and looked up at Sean Wright like, why were you in my way? Well, he wasn't in his way. He was standing out of bounds.
Exactly.
There was nothing that Sean Wright was doing wrong. He didn't dangerously get in Trey's way. He didn't step in where he was about to land like you do for a three-point shooter. I have no idea why Trey stepped so far back behind him, out of bounds, and stubbed his ankle on that foot of the planted foot of Sean Wright. So that's bizarre enough. So this is where he really disappointed me. So he goes to the locker room. This is the end of the third quarter. And he stays for a little while, and he comes back to the bench. And you could see him on the camera up the tunnel walking, and he didn't seem to be walking with a limp at all. He comes back, and he sits for about 2 clock minutes on the bench, and I thought, uh-oh, he thinks he can't go back in. Because wouldn't you, if
get on the bike and try to keep getting loose?
Or if you got it, if you shot it, let's say he took a painkilling injection in the locker room, which is highly possible. I have no idea if he did or didn't. But if he came back to the bench, he'd usually say, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready. This is it, man. This is the swing game. This is we could be up 2-1 at home with game 4 at home. You know, we'd have them where we want them." And instead, he just sat quietly for a couple of minutes, and finally, it looked like Nate said, you want to try? You want to go? And he said, yeah, I'll give it a try. And then what happened? He immediately goes into the game and was completely disengaged on offense. He did not participate. When he had the basketball, he either passed it. He did take that first 3, and he made his first 3. And I thought, way to go, young man. Make miracles. Here we go. Because he could go Willis Reed for our younger viewers. Willis tried to play in a game 7, which he probably shouldn't have played in. I think he had an ankle injury too.
Quad.
Yeah, but again, they said it was also an ankle. I was reading again last night. Some people said it was an ankle. I have no idea exactly what it was. I'm not sure anybody ever knew for sure. But I thought he could go Willis Reed. Or how about Isaiah Thomas? I was there. I was courtside. 1988. It was Game 6 in Detroit. Those bad boy Pistons were up 3-2 on the Lakers out here, not at Staples. It was at the fabulous Forum out by the airport in Inglewood. So I am right there, and Isaiah is going off on the Lakers in the third quarter and had already scored 14 in the third, turns his ankle horrendously. It looked like one of those, where you say, you can't go on that. And he sucked it up, gutted it out, and continued to fire away and scored 11 more points in the third quarter to set the all-time playoff record for any quarter of 25 points.
That might be one of the greatest performances you'll ever see.
And it comes down to some phantom foul call on Bill Laimbeer at the end of the game on Kareem. And Kareem went to the free throw line to his credit and made both of them. And they barely survived that game. And I was in the locker room right next to Isaiah after the game, and I saw his ankle up close and it was huge.
Like a grapefruit.
And by the way, we could see last night, I think we have a shot of this, when Nate McMillan was addressing the troops in the locker room after the game, you could see Trey had already taken his shoe and sock off, so you could see his right foot on the floor. If we could see it. Can you see that? There we go. It doesn't look huge to me, does it?
No.
Does it look swollen yet? I mean, it could swell overnight, but it does not look grapefruit, right?
And the thing is, Skip, like with a situation like that, you don't want to take the tape off because you don't want it to blow up. And that's what happened with Isaiah, Skip. Isaiah kept it on. Now, once he took that tape off, and I think that's the thing there. Now, maybe Trey went back and got it retaped. But normally, I agree with you, Skip. When you sprain an ankle or you twist an ankle, you want to get back in there and keep the blood flowing. You don't want it to settle. Because if that thing settles, you start to think about it. You're like, I ain't going to be able to get back into the ball game.
So now, here we go again. We're facing the issue of pain threshold. It's a matter of how much can you take? How much do you want this game? How much can you just suck up and swallow your pain and say, I have to do this for my team's sake. It could be old school versus new school. It sounds like I walked 15 miles to school in the snow, like you used to do, right? Okay. But in this case, I don't know his pain threshold. I wished he had sucked it up more and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try. But too often, too many possessions, Herder's looking around like, you want me to do this? Yep, I want you. And he would just go stand in the far corner. Well, now that calls into question Nate McMillan. Well, is Nate thinking, gee, maybe I should get him out of there? But he's the darling of the crowd. You can't take out Trae Young.
You got to have him, even if he's a decoy, Skip. But I think the biggest thing is going on, Skip, we got to watch that Bogdanovich. Skip, he's 3 of 16. He's 2 of 10 from the 3. Skip, he's not giving Trae anything.
At that moment, it's all about Trae Young because they're just looking like, are you going to save us or not?
Skip, I know he's wounded.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to let Trae. I'm definitely going to make him get off the ball. Now you see Drew Holiday, he gets up even more into him because he knows he's on one leg. What are you going to do on one leg, Skip?
Which brings me back to Chris Middleton. If you look closely at his playoff performances, when the games are on the line and they're tough games and they're down to the wire games, he is likely or liable to disappear. We saw him the other night go 0 for 9 for 3.
Yes, game 1.
But he's also a very shrewd operator. And when he smells blood, and he knew once Trae stepped on the floor, he wasn't Trae Young anymore. You could just see the Bucks knew, he not only does he not want to play defense, but he doesn't even want to play offense. So he is decoy at best. And Chris Middleton started to feel it because he felt like they had the complete upper hand in the basketball game. And once he gets going, he is an all-star. He can go like that. And so he smelled that blood, and he just poured it on them. And to score 20 in the fourth quarter.
He outscored the Hawks by himself. They scored 17.
It was hard for me to watch. We're about to talk about this in a minute. But, if the Clippers could have made just one of those shots, and he's making like 6 out of 9 threes, I'd take one.
Skip, you know it's in trouble. They come up on the break, and he has the ball. He driving. They cut him off. He backs up to the three-point line, shoots the ball over his right shoulder.
Now you're unconscious.
Yeah, you're like, okay,
too good.
He got us.
Okay.
We get ready for game 4.
So, down the stretch, after Trae came in at 8:44 remaining, with a 5-point lead, the hometown Hawks got outscored 25-9. It's just not right.
No.
So it made me wonder, would they have had a better chance if Lou Will had just stayed in the game and play? They could play 2 guards with Herder and Lou Will and kind of have no point guard. I would say they would have had a better shot because and I know Lou Williams, especially at home in Atlanta, he can go pretty hot too.
Yeah, he was, but he didn't have it yesterday, Skip. For whatever reason, he hadn't played. I mean, he's had a couple of games, especially against Philly, in which he's played well, but he hadn't played that well in this series. It's really, Skip, the thing is with Milwaukee, they said, look, Trae, you can get your points, but what we can't allow you to do is what the Knicks and what Philly allowed you to do. Go get 30, and then you have 11, 12, 15, 18 assists. We can't let you be a scorer and a playmaker. You can be either or. And they don't believe the other guys, minus Trae Young, can beat them. But Skip, it's the streakiness of Chris Middleton. Skip, we saw in the first 2 games against the Nets, he's shooting 6 of 23. He's shooting 5 of 24. And the next day they come home and he's unconscious.
And his home road stats are shockingly.
Skip, they're like 12, 13 points. And then but Skip, in big moments, you remember the game 7, the big moment shots, he took them. He made them. So I trust him, even though Giannis is the best player. Giannis is a 2-time MVP. I don't want the ball in Giannis' hand in the last 2 minutes of the ball game.
I don't think that team does either.
Yeah, give me Chris Middleton.
Okay, so in the fourth quarter last night, Giannis, the 2-time MVP, the PER prince of this league, player efficiency rating, he takes 2 shots in the fourth quarter, and to his credit, he made both of them. He got to the free throw line once to shoot 2 free throws, and he made one of them. And obviously, the Atlanta crowd was getting to him with its rhythm chants of 1, 2, 3, 4, trying to speed him up.
And another bad air ball.
And he had another bad air ball. He had another bad one from 3. So he goes from the free throw line 6 of 13. That's bad enough to get you beat.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You look at their their three-point shooting. They came on at the end, but they weren't hot from three like they can get as a team until Middleton got hot.
Middleton was hot. But Skip, the thing was, Atlanta couldn't take advantage of it because they was just as bad from the free throw line. They were 9 of 16. If one team is shooting really bad, this is your opportunity with the clock stop for you to slowly, incrementally get yourself back into the ball game. But Atlanta didn't. Skip, Atlanta wasn't playing well. Once Trey got hurt, they weren't playing well.
No.
And he knew he was hurt because if you look at it, he only took 4 shots. He was 1 for 3 from the three-point line in the fourth quarter.
And how many assists did he have in the fourth quarter? He had 1. How many times did he get to the free throw line in the fourth quarter? How about 0? Okay, what did he do to Philly in Game 7 at Philly?
Right.
He went 1 of 7 in the fourth quarter and 0 for 4 from 3, but he got to the free throw line 10 times.
Right.
He shot 10 free throws and made 9. And down the stretch of that game, he just closed them out by shooting free throws and making clutch free throws.
Same thing in Game 1. What did he do? He closed them out shooting free throws.
So if you have 0 of 0 because you can't attack anymore, you don't feel like you can push off, you don't have your blow-by speed, as he said, especially going to his left where you have to push off your right foot. You're not going to win because he's becoming almost a liability on the floor instead of Trae Young.
Well, here's Skip. If you can't blow by people, your offensive thing is what you're known for. You're definitely a liability, Skip, because he's 5'11". Who is he going to guard?
Nobody.
So now, all of a sudden, he can't get in there and grab rebounds. He can't penetrate. Because, Skip, you say he is. But a lot of times, he takes the threes to force you to hug up on him. So now he can use that blow-by speed to get to the rim, to use the floater, or to throw the lob. So the three-point, a lot of times, he wants to make it. I don't want people to think, well, he's shooting the ball not to make it. But he takes a lot of those threes, Skip, because if he gets it going, now you really got to hug up on him. And you saw last night, Skip, he gave it up, got it right back from the logo. And let it go. So you got to guard him out there. Now you're guarding him. He can use his speed to get past you, use the floater, or use the lob. But with Chris Middleton going off for 20 points, and that's what it is. If you get these guys now, we saw Terrence Mann. He went off for 20 in the game against Utah. These guys can get as hot as anybody. It used to be, Skip, only the superstars could heat up like this. You get a Bird. You got a Jordan. You got the Kobe's, the LeBrons. Now, Skip, you get guys that you're like, oh, dude, you've been a career backup. How Terrence Mann go for 39, 20 and a quarter?
Yeah, I just think he's emerging as, I'm not going to say star, but as a player. Solid.
I can see him being a starter.
Absolutely.
And Chris Middleton, but that's the frustrating thing with him, Skip. Immensely skilled. He can shoot the three. He got mid-range game. His mid-range is great. He can post and shoot over either shoulder. Nice free throw percentage. But sometimes I think he settles for threes too much, and I think sometimes he gets into his own head. But he played sensational last night. And Skip, Giannis is Giannis. I'm not going to take anything away from Giannis. Giannis is Giannis. But Chris Middleton was the reason they won this game last night.
Well, up to that point, up to the point of the bizarre ankle turn, remember, Trae had already scored 32 on 11 of 19, and for once, 5 of 11 from 3. That's up to the ankle turn, and you know what happened after that? Nothing happened.
He was 1 for 3.
So my point was, by his standards, scoring the basketball, he was on fire. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so if you take away the ankle turn, I think he stays on fire in the fourth quarter, and the crowd lights it up, and the team feeds off the crowd, and I believe they'd be up 2-1 if not for the ref's foot in the way of a bizarre kickback.
But Skip, they're doing a great job because he had no free throw attempts in the first half. So they're doing a great job. And True Holiday,
they're doing a better job of keeping him out of the paint,
keeping him off the free throw line because he's gonna get his buckets. But the thing you can't let him do, Skip, shoot 12, shoot 18 free throws because he's too good a free throw percentage shooter that he's gonna get you an extra 13, 14 points. And you saw what happened in game 1. This game, Skip, was all about him scoring. They didn't allow him to score and play make. Because go ahead, Herder, do your thing. You think you could do what Trae does? Go ahead. Bogdanovich can't make a shot. Gallinari might need to get an increased minutes because they don't really have an answer for him because he's punishing everybody. He can shoot the three and he can post.
So in the end, via TNT, we saw Nate McMillan lecturing his troops in the locker room saying, hey, this is the same series all over again, speaking of Philadelphia, because they fell behind 2-1 against Philadelphia, and they had to win Game 4 to stay in the series.
Right.
Okay? So he's saying it's the same. Well, it's not going to be the same if their little man can't go.
Yeah, it's the next 48 hours. Now, Skip, maybe because we saw Cameron Payne turn his ankle.
He did.
And then he was able to go. So maybe it was a situation. And now
Campaign looked like he could go in that game.
Yeah. And so maybe it's a situation with 48 hours. He can come back, get some therapy and some treatment, and he'll be good to go. But if he's not as close to 100%, they're not winning that game.
They are not winning that game.
And you're not getting down 3-1 and coming back and beat Milwaukee.
Heck no. And yet, all signs would say it can't be that bad because he wasn't limping and I didn't see any immediate grapefruit swelling.
Right. Okay.
Let's hope so. Guys, coming up, I didn't bring it up off the top of the show. The Clippers, are they on the ropes once again? But will they be able to pull off another comeback here?
No.
All the comeback kids, we're breaking down LA Phoenix series. So much to get to. That is next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Looking for the home of your dreams? Show sellers you're serious with a streamlined pre-approval on Credible.com. Start your home search confident about what you can afford and be ready to make the most competitive offer. Visit Credible.com and get your pre-approval today.
Mark Valeriano was shook with the new Popeye sandwiches and more pack.
Oh my God.
With 4 chicken sandwiches, 4 tenders, and a large side for $25, there's something for everyone. Start earning points with Popeye's Rewards. Your mom's been posting a lot since she got that phone from Cricket.
Every day.
Here's a comment. We stan.
Oh,
Mom, you have a cool mom. More phones, more fun.
So then I said to him, you ought to customize your car insurance with Liberty Mutual, so you only pay for what you need. Hot dog or chicken? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
another beer or something different?
How about this super filling IPA?
You want a dark beer aged with goat's milk?
Dark beer.
How about a beef and ginger highball? We need a card.
It's nearly done.
Can you repeat that? That's better.
It's done.
With WebEx, the McLaren Formula One team is collaborating like never before. Introducing the WebEx Suite, driving hybrid work.
Dogs don't know what's good for them. Like not being able to leave a good stick alone.
Hello.
Greenies, something better for your dog to chew on.
Back slow, you would never see that. Use the trap toe. Oh no!
God, wait! How are you still so unsure of this, Steven?
What am I supposed to do? Leave my family?
Yes! Stop overthinking it, Steven! Book the bachelor party in Vegas!
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Booking a trip can feel dramatic, but with free cancellation, you can't go wrong with Hotels.com.
Cross Junior and Hardy's.
Celebrate this summer with the new BLT Ranch Angus Thick Burger from Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. Feed your happy.
Oh boy, Denver.
Now, hi. Physics. You even know what happened to a baseball when you pack a bunch of all-stars into Coors Field?
Sir?
You got all right, El Nino, Vladdy Jr., Les Jr., Wookie, Ronald and Freddie Show, Utani. I bet even those TV guys want to take some hacks with this one. Look, the scoreboard guy is going to get a workout, and I am here for that.
It's Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. The hottest live show in all of entertainment. Tap into network television's greatest spectacle. As the baddest superstars on the planet are unleashed in prime time. All new Friday Night SmackDown, sponsored by Progressive at 8 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Time for our trending story, brought to you by the all-new Kia Sorento, the world's first storytelling machine. The Suns beat the Clippers Saturday night, 84-80, to take a 3-1 series lead. Devin Booker had a game-high 25 points, while Paul George and the Clippers finished with twice as many turnovers as made threes. The series shifts back to Phoenix for Game 5, where the Suns are now one game away from their first NBA Finals appearance since 1993. So, Shannon, did the Suns win it, or did the Clippers lose this one?
As much as I want to say the Suns won, the Clippers blew this one. And I think both teams, there's a stretch in the fourth quarter where both teams started to feel the pressure because they were missing easy shots. They were missing layups. And this is when you know you missed the pressure. Chris Paul was 36 of 36 from the free throw line. And he went up there and clanked one. Zubac, Skip, they had opportunity after opportunity from the free throw line. I'm not talking about, I'm going to get to the field goals, but Skip, from the free throw line, Zubac have a chance to give them the lead. He misses both. Paul George, again. Reggie Jackson, again. And it gets to a point where you say, you know what, Skip? It's just not our day. We done had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to either tie the game or take the lead. And we can't buy a basket. And it starts to mess with you mentally. It's like you playing a football game and Skip, we do everything. And for some reason, we just can't get the ball in the end zone. And you're like, man, it's not our day. But they had so many cracks. And, if they could just get that one shot to fall, that would tie the ball game, Skip, or give them the lead, you was like, okay, here go the Clippers, because that's what they normally do. We saw them against Utah, Skip. They struggle, and they hit that one shot to give them the lead, and then they take off. And in this game, for whatever reason, they weren't able to make it, but I thought the pressure. Skip, Paul George, your guy, you keep telling me he's playoff P. Now, this is what he did on Saturday with the game in the balance. They can have either tie the game or take the lead.
Yep.
This is what playoff P did. Here it is right here. This is his first 6 shots, Skip. Was that close? Unless they got 2 baskets and one on the other side of the one he tried. What is that? What was that? That's a turnover. Look at this. I mean, these not even, Skip, the thing is, they're not even close. Look at, here it is again, this playoff P right here. That's the shot that he hit the other night to give him the lead.
I saw the game. I saw it.
And so I'm saying to myself, Clippers, the Suns are feeling the pressure just like you are. They're giving you every opportunity to win this game. Skip, you can't be at home. You hold a team to 85 points and you lose the game. You can't do that. And you told me this was the best 3-point percentage shooting team in all of basketball.
I didn't tell you they were.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. So what? 5 of 31. You told me they were historic from the free throw line. You said no team has shot better from the free throw line in a calendar season than this Los Angeles Clipper team.
Yep.
So 21 of 32. Is that good? They look like the Lakers out there shooting free throws. They lost this game. It wasn't what the Suns did. Now, we could talk about, I'll skip all that, where the Suns locked out on defense. A lot of what was happening wasn't because of defense. I think it had to do with nerves. I thought it had to do with the moment because I saw too many misses of shots they had made against the Mavericks, shots they had made against Utah. They were unable to capitalize on Saturday. So I don't think the Suns won. I thought the Clippers lost this ball game. And the guys that you were counting on, PG again, Skip. How's that? What is this shooting from? What did he shoot from the field, Skip? 5 of 20? 5 of 20. Told you the other night. His efficiency is awful. Again, he's taking 11, 12 shots in the first quarter. Nah, that's not good enough. They lost this game. In the moment, even Steve Ballmer, Paul George went to the free throw line and missed that shot. He just ducked his head, just shook his head like rail. And dead president put his head down. Got it.
Okay, unfortunately, it is now my turn. I do not disagree with any point you made. You didn't make them harshly enough. The Los Angeles Clippers are simply the most frustrating team I have ever rooted for in all of my career. All my career, I can't remember anything like this. Game 4 on Saturday night was simply the most excruciating game I have ever witnessed. You can ask my wife, Ernestine, and my little daughter, quote-unquote, Hazel, our Maltese. I was out of my mind because The Suns kept saying, here, you take it. No, you take it. It's your night. You take it. You take it. You take it. You take it. The Suns were choking their brains out just like Paul George was choking his brains out. And just to show you how objective I was, you can check my timeline, because right in the middle of that fourth quarter, that misery that I was suffering, I tweeted, I'm sorry, but my man Paul George is choking his guts out right now. What? That's what I said. Just for the record, I said that. If you want to call him Pandemic P today, if you want to ridicule him, if you want to condemn him, if you want to dismiss him forever and ever, be my guest, because he deserved it. That was their home game, not Phoenix's home game. They were down 2-1, not Phoenix down 2-1. So the onus was on the home team to make one little shot. Just make one shot to go ahead, because the score got stuck on 71-70. But quickly, let's look back at what had happened. Just when I thought my Clippers would get blown out for the first time in this playoffs, you realize in all the losses they've had this year, they have not been blown out one time. And what happened? They fall behind early third quarter, 52-36, and I'm like, that's it, because Phoenix is just too good. Right. Phoenix is too good on both sides of the ball because they play high-level defense. They get up into you and after you. And what happened? Here came the Clippers again, miraculously. Here comes Reggie Jackson. He hit 4 out of 8 shots in the third quarter. And they scratch, and they claw, and all of a sudden you look up, and they're back in the game.
Back in the game. Against
Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns, they are back in the game. So what happens? There's a technical called on Devin Booker, and Paul George goes to the free throw line 3 straight times. This is with 10:07 left. The first one's a technical foul shot, so he's got to shoot it by himself. Swish. Then he's got 2 shots to shoot by himself, but except they all come back in, obviously. He goes to the line for the first shot, swish. Now it's all of a sudden 71-70. So all you have to do is make your third straight free throw, and you have tied the game. And somehow it would feel very differently to get to 71 all than to be down 1, right?
Yep.
And if we could see what happened, it's up and it's not down. How many of those have you seen from him? It's just a little bit short where he catches front iron, back iron, lips back out. Okay. So here we go. And from that point on, the Clippers proceed to miss 15 of their last 17 shots. That's hard to do. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? So are the Suns. They are matching each other for misery.
Brick for brick.
Brick for brick. They're building a new Staples Center. They could have built a second one with the bricks that they shot, both of them. Because in the fourth quarter, Chris Paul went 1 of 7. So did Paul George, 1 of 7. And in the fourth quarter, you look and you say, well, wait a second. Look at the shooting stats for just the fourth quarter alone.
They were awful.
They're pathetic. But in the end, I can sum this game up. Phoenix was a little less awful than the Clippers were. Okay. That's the bottom line takeaway. Somehow they were a little less awful because you look at Phoenix was 4 of 19 in the fourth quarter. Well, the Clippers were 3 of 19, so it was just like 1 shot better, okay?
And that was the summation of the fourth quarter. Okay. It was 1 shot. You make 1 shot.
Okay. And the Clippers were 0 of 6 from 3 in the fourth quarter. Well, the Suns managed to go only 0 of 3 from 3. So you got me, right?
Right.
And in the end, so what happens? They get stuck on 71-70. Neither team can make a shot, and it's just I'm just going to read these. We don't have to show them. But Batum misses a 3. These are all to go. These are for the lead. Batum misses a 3. Then Cameron Payne blocks Terrence Mann. Then Paul George misses a 3. Paul George, we saw, you showed it, the wild drive. I don't know what he was doing. He just throws it up into the crowd. It has no chance. Then he misses a fadeaway, as you showed. And then Big Zoo, he's got a wide open 18-footer. And he's like, well, nobody else can make a shot. I might as well shoot a little set shot. And he misses that one. Unguarded.
Yep.
And then Reggie Jackson gets into the act, and he misses a 3. That's to go up 2. And then Paul George misses a 16-footer. That's to go up 1. And then Big Zoo has a turnover with a chance to go up 1 or 2 at that point, 6:35. And finally, Chris Paul alley-oops to 8, and then it broke the spell, and finally that makes it 73-70 the Suns. And yet here come the Clippers again. Paul George misses again from 18 feet. And then Reggie Jackson has a driving layup that he misses. Then they have at 4:06 a shot clock violation. All these are chances to go up, up, up. All you got to do is cash one of these, and maybe the momentum shifts completely to you. And then finally, 3:24 left. Reggie Jackson misses a 3 to tie, and 2:55. Paul George misses a 3 to tie. Well, I'm on the floor. I'm wiped out. I'm sweating. I yelled to Ernestine, turn the air conditioner on because I am sweating. It was kind of a cool night here in LA. But have you ever seen such misery suffered by both teams down the stretch of a game?
It was a horrible game. Up until it was a good game up until that point, until about 4 or 5 minutes where nobody could make a shot, Skip.
The final score of the fourth quarter was 15-14.
Skip, come on, really?
How about an 84-80 final? How about that? Those two teams, they can score in 120s.
Teams were 22-0 in the regular season while keeping the opponent to 84 or fewer points.
Okay.
3-0 in the postseason.
Yep.
Skip,
I'm not surprised.
look at this. In game 2, Book and Chris Paul was 10 of 40. The Clippers, the Suns won. Game 3, they were 14 of 44. So in games 2 and 3, Chris Paul and Devin Booker are 24 or 84, and the Clippers didn't win either one of those ball games. Skip, and D-Book fouled out. You had him in foul trouble most of the night, and you got to take advantage of those opportunities, Skip. You actually think they're going to continue to shoot this bad for the next time? We're going to talk about Ty Lue saying coming back is doable. Do you actually think they're going to continue to shoot that bad? You've got to somehow, Skip. You've got to find a way to win one of these games. You've had to have found a way to win one of these games when they're playing that bad. Chris Paul can't seem to find a rhythm. Devin Booker, give Patrick Beverly some credit because he's doing an unbelievable job with Devin Booker and the mask. Skip, I told you. I said pretty soon he's going to forego that mask. He's like, I'm not.
Threw it away.
He threw it like,
in the third quarter. He said that's enough.
I'm done with it. He's like, I can have surgery. I was reading where he said, I can have surgery at any point in time. But the Clippers they needed to find a way to win the game when two of their best players are struggling. But Skip, DeAndre Ayton is a monster. Everybody talked about how Zoom outplayed him. Zoom is not as talented as DeAndre Ayton, but he outplayed him. He said, well, bull jive, that won't happen again. Skip, he a monster. He had 9 offensive rebounds.
They call him the Dominator, and he dominated. It was highly impressive.
Now you see why
a star is emerging.
Now you see why he was the number 1 overall draft pick in a draft with
over Luka and Trey.
Yeah. Now you see.
Okay, what I didn't see coming was my Clippers, who led the NBA in three-point percentage, going 5 of 31 from 3. That's impossibly bad. They don't do that.
You told me what's the chance of them going 3 of 17 in the first half, and they won up to that. I think they went 3 of 18, 3 of 19.
They did. And then they just kept on missing the whole rest of the game. What are the odds they would miss 9 free throws? A couple late were intentional misses, obviously, because they were in trouble.
Well, here's the thing. Paul George wouldn't have had to intentionally miss had he not missed the first one.
Okay, now, I've been very objective about my Clippers, and I'll be objective a different way to end this up.
What you going to say?
I'm going to say that even though the Clippers did not deserve to win that basketball game, they at least deserved 2 chances at the end of the game to redeem themselves. And they were robbed again. They were obviously robbed in game 2. That was the biggest robbery of all. But if we could see what happened with 58 seconds left, Terrence Mann goes for just a driving layup, and Bridges just hacks his hand.
This was a foul.
This is a foul. And the NBA on the last 2-minute report admitted he just got slapped across the hand as he's making the shot. It's just a slap. He slapped his hand.
Yeah.
Well, it's an and one. Do I know that Terrence Mann would have made the shot? No. I don't know that for sure, but if he had, that was a crucial point in the final minute of this game.
I think that would have tied the game, wouldn't it?
Well, it would have put them in a position. It would have kept the game. Yes. Yeah. It would have tied the game down the stretch. Yeah. Correct. And then with 7.8 seconds left, we get to an even more egregious blunder by the referees when Batum reaches in on campaign. If we can see this, he reaches in and hits the ball. We had a play like this in game 2, and it's still on Campaign's hand, and it goes right off his fingertips out of bounds. It's clear as day. I appreciate that Jeff Van Gundy said, wait a second, that's just like the play at the end of game 2, and they didn't even review this one. At least they reviewed the one off Aiden's fingertips at the end of game 2. That is off Cameron Payne. The Clippers would be down 1 with the ball. Well, I didn't like them to make a 3 to tie, but if you can make a 2 to win the game, I feel pretty good about that. And they were denied the opportunity because they didn't even review it. The refs protected themselves and their pride by saying, we got this. We don't even need to look at it.
We're not going to look at everything. We're not going to look at every ball that's out of bounds, everything, because that's what you want.
And here's the reputation call at the end of the game. This is just a few more split seconds left, 7 seconds left.
CP3 got trapped.
Yes, CP3. And obviously, the refs are anticipating a foul. Well, there's no foul. And both the Clippers are looking around like, wait a second, look at Batum jumping up and down. That nobody touches him. Nobody touches him. Nobody touches him. Nobody touched him. Nobody touched him. The refs are anticipating a take foul, but there's no take foul. There's no intentional foul. And Chris Paul flops. He flops. F-L-O-P-S, flops on the floor. I got fouled. Didn't you see that I got fouled? No, I saw a travel. I saw a flat-out travel. Sorry. Your ball, Clippers.
No.
And if it's the Clippers' ball, I feel real good with 7 seconds left. They're only down 1. Could have been tied if you called the right play on Terrence Mann.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You feel very comfortable with 7.8 seconds after you clank brick after brick after brick for the last 8 minutes.
As have the Suns.
Exactly.
As have the Suns.
So it's going to be a continuation.
It would feel like destiny. It would feel like, what did the Clippers do? They do it the hardest way. Well, that would have been the hardest way. They could play the worst game in the Clippers' history. That's a long, bloody history.
Exactly.
But it felt like the worst playoff game that team has ever played. And to save it and redeem yourself with one last-second shot, who knows? Maybe playoff P would emerge with a 20-footer to win the game. I don't know. He was due, wasn't he? He's an all-star, 4-time all-star.
Yeah. The man is 5 of 20.
Okay. He had made a shot to start the fourth quarter. He made a 20-footer.
And that was the last shot that he made.
Okay, that's fine. But I just felt good about it if you give them the opportunity. But obviously the memo has come down from the league office. We do not want the team without Kawhi Leonard in the finals.
Don't do that.
We want the team with Chris Paul and with Devin Booker and with the emerging star dominator.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right? That's what they want.
Don't do that.
I just showed you 3 plays in the last 58 seconds where missed call, and missed call.
But guess what you also showed? 12 times where the Clippers had an opportunity to either tie the game or take the lead, and they bricked it.
They bricked it. They choked it. Okay. They gagged it. They threw up all over themselves for almost the entire fourth quarter, and they deserved the right for redemption.
You see what you did there, Skip Bayless? Now, after they done gagged the entire night, you want the referees to come bail them out.
Well, is that what happened? Did the referees say you don't deserve these calls?
You don't.
You hadn't earned them for the game?
Because you've been bricking the whole night.
That's some big missed calls, man.
That was some big missed shots, man.
Okay.
And your guy, remember the guy that you talked about? That you said, okay, yeah, he your guy now?
Yeah.
That's him. Gagged it off.
The series is not over yet.
It's not over yet.
Did I get my case? I got my 5 cases back. That's all I want.
5 cases? We didn't bet 5 cases.
Yeah.
We did not. We bet 2 cases, and you lost one on what was it? We had something on Giannis. On Friday night.
But that don't count. He only played like 20-something minutes.
I don't care. You made the bet. I didn't make it.
Also, really?
Yeah, you think in Vegas they say we'll give you your money back on that?
You Vegas. So you Vegas now. You Vegas Bailey.
I'm the house.
Okay, well maybe we could put up a new bet on this next one. We're not done talking about the Clippers. Yes, we do know they are on the brink of elimination. You guys just got into all of that following their Game 4 loss to the Suns Saturday. But Ty Lue is optimistic that his team can bounce back from the 3-1 series deficit, saying, quote, "It's very doable." That was the quote, Shannon. Who wins Game 5?
I'm going with the Suns. And Skip, it's doable, but it's not very doable. Skip, I'm not so sure if they have Kawhi, they're even down. It's not even doable. I'm not so sure they might be up 3-1 if they got Kawhi Leonard.
But
they don't have him. The thing that Ty Lue also failed to mention is that he had LeBron and Kyrie. And in Game 5, both of those guys went for 41.
They did.
And then LeBron followed Game 6 up with another 41. And in Game 7 with a 27-point triple-double, and Kawhi hit a shot that was the second biggest shot ever hit, or the third, whatever you want to say. I think Ray Allen had the biggest shot in the finals. Jordan's walk-off, the pose on Kyrie, but it's a top 3 shot hit in the finals in NBA history. Ty Lue doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have a LeBron James. He doesn't have a Kyrie Irving. So to say if anything is possible, but it's highly unlikely given how bad they playing. Considering how bad Paul George is playing. Skip, the thing is that we're getting caught up looking at his overall his finishing numbers. But if you don't watch the game and see how many bad shots he's taken and how poorly he's shooting from the field, it's going unnoticed. he's taking shots that he shouldn't because I believe they can get a better shot than the shot that he's taking at that given time. So for me, is it doable? Yes. Is it very doable? Hell nah. Because what makes me think is very doable when your best player keeps shooting in the 20%, the low 30 percentile. Skip, that's not very doable. And I just don't think unless something unforeseen happens, I just don't see how they claw their way back in it with Paul George playing the way he's playing. Reggie Jackson gets it going in spurts, and when he gets it going, now he can turn it on. You can go get your 20 and a quarter also. But no, is it doable? Yes. Is it very doable? No. Is it likely? Absolutely not.
Weirdly enough, I believe the Clippers will shock you again and win tonight. I'm not sure how. I just know the why of the Clippers. And I know that they believe they should have won game 2. It went to the wire, and they didn't get a call off Ayton's fingertips. It was very close, and it felt to my eye test told me the Clippers played better than the Suns in game 2.
Right.
So don't tell me that tonight at Phoenix the Clippers feel overmatched, because they're not going to feel overmatched.
No.
They have played nose to nose with this team,
right,
physical to physical with this team for the last 2 games for sure. Even game 1, it went down almost to the wire. It was very close. You remember the Rondo play? And by the way, since Rondo played that weird defense where he had his, he was facing the basket at the top of the set. Remember? And Devin Booker looped and went free for the dunk that just iced the game, made it a 4-point game.
Right.
Well, since that point, Rondo has not seen the floor, right? Okay. So who knows whether Rondo will play. I have a feeling he will get a shot tonight to have a little run.
Why? To do what?
Just to shake it up, because that's what Ty Lue does. Do you think that the Clippers can again go 5 of 31 from 3? I will bet you right now, whatever you do bet you want to make, that they'll make more than 5 threes. They just will.
Right.
They're just too good. Their history just this year tells you they'll make more than 5.
Well, I like to think that Phoenix is going to be better than 4 of 22.
Okay. Will they be that much better? I don't think so.
Yeah, Jay Crowder was 1 for 6.
Yep.
Devin Booker was 0 for 5. Chris Paul was 0 for 3. Payne 1 for 2. Cam Johnson 1 of 3. I mean, so they got to be better than that. I'm not saying they're going to shoot 50%, but they got to be better than 20%, right?
Okay. Do you think the Clippers as a team will shoot 32.5% again? That's impossibly wrongly bad. Again, you can say, well, the Suns won't either. But I say the Clippers will come out much looser tonight because the pressure now shifts completely to the home game to close this out. The pressure's on Chris Paul. He's been very good in stretches in his career. He's had some bad games in his career, too, because he's never obviously got hurt in the one conference finals he played in before with Houston. And they were up 3 games to 2, and he gets hurt. You know the rest of the story. They got wiped out by Golden State in games 6 and 7.
Let me ask you a question. If you Clippers played their best game, the Suns played their best game, who wins? Because you keep saying, well, this team can't do that, that team can't do that. They played their best. Who wins?
Okay, I do not think the Suns will play their best. Well, obviously, they're favored. They're favored by 5.5 again tonight. So Vegas has liked them, has given them the edge all the way through. So they're a little better. Their record was obviously a little better than the Clippers.
Yes.
Well, the Clippers are playing without their best player. How can I answer that question? Well, obviously, if I have Kawhi Leonard, we're having a whole different conversation now.
I believe if they had Kawhi Leonard, they might be up 3. They're definitely not losing, though. They winning both of those 2 games in Phoenix.
And I'm going to say it one more time. I had this on very good authority. Kawhi's gone for the playoffs. So just for the record, one more time. So the point is that with the pressure shifting to the home team tonight, I just believe you'll see a looser Paul George. I think he'll have a big game. I'm not talking about a KD kind of game, but I'm talking about he could get you 30 tonight. He's been rebounding his brains out.
Yeah.
He got 16 rebounds.
Yeah, all those. Skip, you going to have a bunch of rebounds with all them bricks everybody shooting.
I can say the same thing about 22 for DeAndre Ayton.
And you think about it. Between Zubas and Paul George, y'all had 30 rebounds. 30.
A lot of missed shots.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it.
You talk about Paul George might have 30, but I bet it take him 30 shots to get him.
Okay. I think Big Zoo will make DeAndre work tonight. He's made him work every game.
Yes.
And again, is he as good at? No, he's not as good.
He's just too athletic. If you look at him the way he moves like a David Robinson. He doesn't move. He's a traditional center, Skip. He ain't shooting no threes. He back to the basket. Yeah, he got a nice little 12, 15-footer. But for the most part, Skip, he is athletic as heck.
Well, he made one shot early in the game where he drove to the baseline and turned and went up and made like a 10-footer for the baseline. I said, that's just too good.
And think about
He's 7 feet tall.
He's filling the lane on the break, laying it up.
Oh, he does. He can run. He rim runs like crazy. I love him. I got no issue. And I think Chris Paul hasn't been good for him. He's been great for him as a mentor, somebody to push him and sort of goad him and prod him. And I read a story this morning. They got at each other all year long because Chris can annoy the hell out of you in a good way. And I think he's annoyed him to get him in on off days to work.
When you see somebody has that kind of potential, Skip, the guy's 7 foot. He can run. He's athletic as heck. He can shoot the ball. Skip, he's not a guy. He's not Rudy Gobert. All he's gonna do is catch lobs or putbacks. No, you can actually run sets for him, and he can get you a bucket. So you see somebody and he's been milling around. I think one of the best things also happens to Monty Williams. Because Monty Williams said, bro, come on now. You this big, you the #1 overall draft pick. We need more than 10 points a game from you. And he stepped up to the plate.
Okay. Stepping up to the plate tonight will be the also-rans for the Clippers. I say Luke Kennard makes 2 or 3 threes. I say that Batum makes 2 or 3 threes. I say Terrence Mann has another one of those Terrence Mann games that is a difference maker for this team. Paul George has a big game. Reggie Jackson has a big game. Again, I have seen no evidence that the Suns on the court have just blown them off the court, because they haven't. I thought they were in the third quarter on Saturday night, but it did not happen. So I'm going to hang in. Maybe it's heart over head, but I'm going to say that the Clippers will win another close game just to torment you, because that's what the Clippers do.
Reggie Jackson had 20 points on 24 shots.
Well, I can do it to Chris Paul too. Read me his line.
He was 6 of 22. Devin Booker was 8 of 22. But Skip, that's the thing. You got the 2 best players from the opposing team, 14 of 44, and you lose in your building. So what makes you think you about to go on the road?
Yeah, they were 14 of 44. My 2 guys, Paul George and Reggie, were 13 of 44. There it is. It's just like that. They were a little less awful than the Clippers were. Okay? So tonight, roles will reverse.
No, they won't. It's over for you. It's over for you.
Okay, well, you hope so.
You know, I wore my good look suit for you.
Yeah,
they did this for me.
Really?
Yeah. We got cases on it?
I wore my best shirt for the Clippers tonight.
It's over.
I'll take the 5.5 right now.
No, talk about. You want points for your team?
Absolutely. They're miserable. They're down and out.
I give you 4. Because we're going to predict the score a little later. I'll give you 4.
I'll do 5.5. That's what Fox Bet says. It's 5.5. I'll take it right now. 5.5. I'll take the 5.5.
No.
I'm the one up against it. You just said flat out, I believe I can quote you on this, it is over.
Over.
Thank you. I'll take the 5.5.
OVA.
Okay, I'll take the 5.5. I'll take it right now.
OVA.
Yeah, no.
Put your do where your mouth is.
No.
Okay.
You
then
feel
you don't
so
believe it.
confident
There's a little part of you that's still scared to death of the Clippers.
Who jersey should I get? Should I get a Chris Paul, Devin Booker? I think I want an 8 jersey.
Really?
You do?
Yeah, I want a D8.
Okay.
I want a
I
D8.
kind of want a Booker jersey at this point. That's a good idea. Maybe we could set it up.
What Clipper jersey don't you want?
I got a number 1 with my name on the back, and that's all I need tonight. I will be wearing it during the game. Because it's been weirdly lucky for me this whole playoff run when you least expected it.
Where you got the load managing? Load managing.
He's got a torn something in his knee, and he needs surgery.
Different story, different day. Coming up, guys, Chris Broussard joins us to talk about last night's Bucks-Hawks Game 3. Let's get Chris's thoughts next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Together, committed to helping preserve what makes the outdoors worth exploring. I thought I was managing my moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Then I realized something was missing. Me. My symptoms were keeping me from being there for her. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for people with Crohn's disease. The majority of people on Humira saw significant symptom relief in as little as 4 weeks, and many achieved remission that can last.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, remission is possible.
Hi, Verizon launched the first 5G network, and now we want to be the first to give everyone the joy of 5G by giving every customer a new 5G phone on us. Old customers, new customers, families, businesses, in-laws, law firms, every customer. New 5G phones when you trade in your old ones. And if you're not a customer, we'll help cover the cost to switch. Just ask Wanda. She's been with us since now. Upgrade your phone, upgrade your network.
Each of us has a different story, but this family isn't about where you come from. It's about where you're going. We might not recognize each other walking down the street, but driving down it, we recognize in each other the same spirit of adventure. There's only one family and one community, quite like ours. Jeep, there's only one.
Current FCA owners or lessees can get $5,400 bonus cash on the lease of a 2021 Cherokee, or purchase and get 0% financing plus no monthly payments for 90 days.
Longing for the perfect bite? Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Black Widow. I wonder if...
Zip it on. Yes, yes, safety first. That's what we always say at Geico. Never mind.
Okay, you got a plan?
We really should leave our insurance information.
Oh, you all right back there?
I'm okay. My mind was somewhere else.
Marvel Studios' Black Widow, coming to theaters.
I am seeing what everybody else is not, and here we go.
Thursday, the U.S. women's national team take the pitch in their final matches before the Olympics. USA, Mexico, the send-off series. Thursday at 7 Eastern on FS1, all part of the summer of soccer.
And I won't back down.
The Bucks beat the Hawks last night to take a 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. The entire Hawks team was outscored by Chris Middleton in the fourth quarter after Trae Young suffered a right ankle sprain in the final seconds of the third. Despite going to the locker room and later returning, Trae finished with 35 points. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joins us now. Chris, would they have won if Trae didn't turn his ankle?
No. Would not have mattered. Obviously, Trae Young was playing great, 32 points in the first 3 quarters, and wasn't himself in the fourth quarter, obviously, on the bad ankle. But it would not have mattered at the end of the day. When he left the game, they were up 85-82. When he re-entered the game somewhat early in the fourth quarter, 4 minutes later, they were actually up 93-88. So they had increased the lead a little bit without Trae Young. And obviously, his offense would have helped down the stretch. But Trae Young, his ankles could have been bionic, and he wasn't going to do anything to stop Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is why the Hawks lost the game. He had 20 of his 38 points in the fourth quarter, and we all remember that stretch where he hit 3 3-pointers and an 18-footer in a 2-minute stretch. Trae couldn't have done anything about that. And that's why it would not have mattered. Obviously, he gives you more offensively, but defensively, he is a major liability. Their net rating in this series with Trae Young on or off the floor isn't much different. With him on the floor, it's -13. With him off the floor, it's -14. Because defensively, he hurts you. And whatever he gives you offensively, the other team is getting back to a large degree defensively. The Hawks are 25 points per 100 possessions better defensively without Trae Young on the floor. I'm not in any way saying he's not a great player and they're better off without him, or even he doesn't matter. But I'm saying in this game, he couldn't have done anything to keep them from stopping or to help them stop Chris Middleton.
I agree with you, and that's what I was telling Skip, because it wasn't like Trae Young going to guard Chris Middleton. He's 8 of 13 in the fourth, 4 of 6 from the three, 20 points. Skip, I think a bigger reason was John Collins being in foul trouble, because remember the game that they won, he was 25 and 13. Clint Capella was 12 and 19. That's what they need. Trae Young's going to get his. It seems to me they've made a conscious decision, say, you know what, Trae, have your points. We're just not going to let you score and play make. We'll let Herter take that over. We're going to see if you can run the offense. You can be as effective as Trae Young. But I thought John Collins picking up that fourth foul early in the third quarter, him going out, because that was the opportunity. Because it seemed they had just started to get it going, Skip. He was hitting those turnaround jumpers. Whatever mismatch he got, he was taking full advantage of it. So for me, I don't think Trae Young would have had any impact on the ball game. Because like I said, what he's good at, wasn't going to be able to stop Chris Middleton from doing what he's doing. Giannis is going to be Giannis. Giannis is going to give you 30 and 13 every single game, because it's going to be a lot of dunks and a lot of layups. He's going to miss a bunch of free throws also. He's going to shoot Skip. For me, I don't get Giannis. Just someone help me unexplain. He needs to help me. Maybe I need to go sit on somebody's couch. Why is it I get 4 dunks, 2 layups, and all of a sudden I want to shoot threes? I want to be Steph Curry. Bro, do you realize, Skip, everybody keeps saying, well, if Kobe played in this era, rest his soul, he could average 40. If Jordan played, he would average 70. Giannis could literally average 40 points a game, Skip, if he decided to say, you know what, I ain't taking no 3. I'm going to the basket, and I'm going to shoot 70% from the free throw line. Giannis would average 40 points a night. But what did he do? Man, you know, the 3 looking good. I see Chris Middleton. Let me get in some of this action, too. So that's why I look at it, Skip. I do not believe Trae Young, it had an impact. It might have even greater impact tomorrow night, because it might be sore and he might be not as effective as he normally would. But I don't believe Trae would have done anything about this, because once Middleton got it going, they had no answer for that.
And I believe, once more, both of you guys have missed the point. It's right in front of your face, but you're missing the boat and the point. Look at Chris Middleton's home road stats, especially in big playoff games. They are shockingly different. He is a home court scorer. Yeah. He's often a disaster on the road. I believe he would have been a disaster last night if Trae Young hadn't turned his ankle and had turned up the pressure on the visiting team in the fourth quarter before that crazed, celebrity-studded crowd at State Farm in Atlanta. We all know that the Hawks go as little Trae Young goes. He is their spark. He provides the spunk, the swagger. He is their little spitfire of a detonator on offense. On defense, he hides, but he occasionally gets his hand on balls and disrupts and steals and ignites fast breaks. They need him to be Trae Young. And the point was that Chris Middleton didn't start firing away and find his comfort zone until he realized, wait a second, he's not Trae Young anymore. All of a sudden, the game was begging to be won by the visiting team, because when Trae Young finally did re-enter the game, as Chris pointed out, up 5 with 8:44 left in the game, It was clear from the first step on the floor, he doesn't trust his ankle at all. He's not even going to try on offense. He did make the 1-3. They left him unguarded. But after that, he missed his last 3 shots. And what did he do to Philly in Game 7? He salted the game away by getting to the free throw line.
Right.
In Game 7 at Philly in the fourth quarter, he was 1 of 7. He was 0 of 4 from 3 in the fourth quarter, but he made 9 out of 10 free throws. Last night, down the stretch, he got to the free throw line 0 times because he didn't even try to push off his right foot and ankle. So mostly, all I saw from Trae Young was he disengaged on offense. We know he disengages on defense, but on offense, he just tried to play decoy and go stand in the far corner. Herter, you run the point. What? You want me to do this now? And it got so bad that I wanted Lou Williams to come back in the game because at least you'd have a guy on 2 good ankles who can shoot it, and he can occasionally get just as hot as Chris Middleton can get. And at least you could have fought some fire with some fire. This way, they got outscored. The Hawks did from the moment Trae set foot back on court. They got outscored 25-9 down the stretch because he was a liability for the Atlanta Hawks. And I will promise you, if you could have put Nate McMillan on a lie detector after about 3 minutes of watching that nothing, I think he wanted to put Lou Williams back in the game. But no, you can't do that. Trae Young is the darling of the crowd. He's everything to the Atlanta Hawks.
But Chris,
he's almost like Michael Vick big in Atlanta right now.
Can I ask you a question? When did Lou Williams turn into Ben Simmons on defense? Lou Williams is a liability on
okay,
defense.
but you need somebody who can score because they scored 9 points in the last 8:44.
Skip, did you realize how many points Lou Williams had for the entire game?
I don't care. He's still got – we've seen him do it even in this playoff run. He's obviously long in the tooth, but I'll take him over Trae Young. Who'd you want last night? Trae Young in there moping around, grimacing on his ankle?
Man, stop. The man ankle hurt.
Well,
hold on, Chris. You mean to tell me somebody might have an ankle injury and not be 100%?
Who are you talking about?
Skip Bayless.
Now you don't have any notes.
I don't need no notes.
Yes, you do.
Skip Bayless, you've been talking about. I know a guy that got injured in February or in March.
Whatever happened to him?
Don't worry about what happened.
Where did he go?
I tell you what, he said, you know what? I held a boat because I knew the Clippers were going to be joining me shortly. So I didn't leave the pier just yet. Well, y'all going fishing too tonight.
He's been fishing for about 2 months.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. That's okay. But Skip Bayless, you know how ankles are. You talk about a basketball player, that everything is from the waist down.
Okay. What did I see? I was sitting courtside. Game 6, 1988, out here, not at Staples, because there was no Staples, at the fabulous Forum.
Yes.
I saw the Bad Boy Pistons up 3-2 on the Lakers of Magic and Kareem and Worthy. And what happened? Isaiah Thomas, little 6'1" guard, who knew? He goes off on the Lakers in the third quarter. He'd scored 14 in the third quarter, and he turned his ankle terribly, turned it completely over. And he sucks it up because they're old school, and he just said, I'm staying. I'm going to limp around. I'm going to score some more. He scored 11 more points in the third quarter on that ankle. I saw it up close and personal right after the game. I was standing right beside Isaiah in the locker room. It was this big. It was a grapefruit. It was horrendous. It was so bad that he managed to score. That day he'd scored 43. But in Game 7, he tried to limp around on it. He scored 10 points in Game 7, and they barely lost. But in this game, they hung in until the bitter end, and there was a phantom foul on Bill Laimbeer, and Kareem got 2 free throws he did not deserve, but he made them, and they won the game.
But, Chris, I think you'll attest to this. Guys are different back then than what they are now. Guys would play through more. Guys would inject themselves. Them guys would take shots and take painkillers and do whatever. It's kind of the same thing in football, Skip. Guys were willing to do more with the injections, and I think now guys like, I'm gonna make $45 million regardless. I'm not gonna risk my body or risk long-term harm.
Maybe their agent texts them in the locker room when you're about to get injected, and he says, "Why risk it? Well, why?
So I
why bother?"
Right.
Go ahead, Chris.
There's no chance one of these guys is playing on that ankle with the way Isaiah did that game. Now I will say this: remember Grant Hill?
Yes.
He was in Detroit, getting the pressure, right? Oh, Isaiah played through injuries, and Grant, he's great, but he can't even win a playoff series. So he played on the bad ankle.
It ruined his career.
You know what happened next? Obviously, the rest is history. Ruined his career.
He played.
I think Trae is fine for the most part. I don't think it's a bad injury. But they will be extra cautious, don't you think? I mean, Grant is in the ownership in Atlanta. So if the MRI has any issues, I'd be overly cautious if I were them. I don't expect that, but they should err on the side of caution. Skip, let me say this about Middleton, though. I don't think you're right about his home and away performances, although he was bad at home to start this season.
He wasn't
terrible. Good in the first 2 games. Right. And I don't think he's the type of player to get in his own head. I don't think he's like you said, he sees that Trey's not himself. I don't think he's like that. I think his inconsistency is because the level of player he is, that's what you get. You know, he's not a perennial all-star. He's certainly not a superstar where I know every night I can mark down 22, 25 points.
Correct.
I know he's going to play well. He's that level of guy. He makes a few all-star games. Maybe this season will change that if they win it. But he's up and down because that's the level of player he is. So I just think he got hot. He was feeling it, and there was nothing the Hawks could do.
Okay, last quick point. We showed this earlier, but as Nate McMillan was addressing his troops in the locker room, we saw via TNT that Trey had taken off his right shoe and right sock, and you could see his ankle. And again, I don't know how hurt he was during the game, but that ankle so far has not swollen at all.
Right.
It looks the usual, right? Yeah. It looks its usual circumference, right?
Yeah, I mean, I said, you get some stim, you get some treatment, and hopefully you're able to go. But I agree with you, Chris. I think because the level of expectation, he's not Giannis, he's not LeBron, he's not one of these superstars that you have this level of expectation. So just imagine if a superstar would have played as bad as he did in game 1 and they lose when he goes 6 of 25 from the field, man, they'd ate him up. But it's like, Chris just has to play better. Nah. But he played good enough, and I got a feeling that
that's it.
Nah, I think Atlanta gonna win the next game.
Oh, you do?
I do.
And you're saying that so you can go home again?
No, I'm gonna go home regardless.
Oh, okay.
I've been in Atlanta longer than everybody on the Hawks has been in Atlanta, so I'm going back home. But I know who will not. I know somebody that's going home for good tonight.
Really?
No, you know that too, Chris, huh? You know who going home for good.
You're gonna have that last plane ride back?
Yeah.
Celebrate the season.
As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even fly back with the team.
Really?
I'm going to my
Really?
I can leave out of Phoenix. They got planes going everywhere, flights going everywhere out of Phoenix.
Well, where's that guy LeBron James now? Is he in Bora Bora or somewhere? They could join him there.
You know, I told you we was holding up. We held up the flight.
Really?
It's the longest flight delay in the history. We held it up because we knew 2 weeks later, all you did was practice 2 more weeks than what we practiced. That's all you did. Are you going to win the title, Skip Bayless? Yes or no?
We don't have our best player.
Oh, now you didn't got your best player. You didn't say that when we were hurt with AD and LeBron on the bum ankle.
Well,
wait, AD's your best player.
Don't see there you go.
Tyler said it's very doable, the situation they're in. Maybe a comeback. Chris, we need to talk about it. Clippers, Suns next. Don't go anywhere.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
It's 4th of July in the crime scene kitchen.
How about that, Aron? Nice.
But for one team of baking detectives,
Vinegar, raspberries.
I really hope we got the right dessert.
a shot at the quarterfinals
Beautiful, Mom. That is perfect.
will end in Yankee Doodle disaster.
Clearly, there's some issues with the appearance of your cake.
Crime scene kitchen, all new Wednesday after MasterChef on Fox.
Wendy's Summer Strawberry Chicken Salad is back because we make salads bursting with flavor. Unlike some places.
People want salads.
We don't have salads.
Ooh, too hard to do fresh? At Wendy's, we say yes to fresh and yes to salads.
Just tell me what I need to know. Where is it?
It's on the beach. Ocean views. It was supposed to be a surprise.
She doesn't like surprises, Dave.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Booking a trip can feel dramatic, but with free cancellation, you can't go wrong with Hotels.com.
You know what's making Sarah's migraine worse?
Okay, let's table that.
But you know what gives her some relief? Using ZocDoc to book a video visit.
You'll get the prescription this afternoon. Does that work?
Yes. Oh. ZocDoc makes healthcare easy.
My job search was so frustrating. Baking helped with my stress. ZipRecruiter helped with my job search. It's like a free personal recruiter doing the heavy lifting for me so I can apply with a click. Some companies even invited me to apply. It worked. I start Monday. Oh, my suit still fits.
Go
to ZipRecruiter.com and put ZipRecruiter to work for you.
Sarah, you said you were buying a car today.
Dad, it's 4 a.m.
Yeah, I stayed up and crunched all the numbers.
I already used Capital One Auto Navigator. I found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly.
Oh, online, honey. Now that can affect your credit score.
It didn't, Dad. Then I got my real rate and monthly payment. Now I just need to head to the dealership for a test drive and purchase.
Sounds easy.
Yeah, it is.
Well, since we're both up, who wants French toast? What's in your wallet?
When you have auto glass damage, schedule Safe Light's new drop and go service. Just drop off your keys and go enjoy your day. We'll send you text updates and let you know when it's ready. Schedule drop and go today.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Gillette Pro Glide. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke. So you're ready for the day with a fresh face for a fresh start. For a limited time, get a 5th cartridge free.
Dogs don't know what's good for them. Like not being able to leave a good stick alone.
Hello!
Greenies. Something better for your dog to chew on.
Wendy's only serves one kind of breakfast, a better one. So chuck your old soggy egg reach and pick up 2 of these freshly made sandwiches at Wendy's for just $4. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $4.
He said he would knock him out! Like 25 shots on the first play. 25 shots on the first play. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
I am seeing what everybody else is not, and here we go.
So dramatic.
I'm a big believer that you cannot reduce sports to numbers. These are humans. These are athletes. I pay money to watch art. I want to pay money to watch Brady and LeBron.
The internet's going to pay attention to this, you know.
I've always had a rule: never go cheap on transportation, toilet paper, or quarterbacks. The money for NFL quarterbacks is always worth it.
The Suns beat the Clippers Saturday night, 84-80, to take a 3-1 series lead. Devin Booker had a game-high 25 points, while Paul George and the Clippers finished with twice as many turnovers as made three-pointers. The series shifts back to Phoenix for Game 5, where the Suns are now 1 game away from their first NBA Finals appearance since 1993. Chris Broussard is still with us. Chris, what is the biggest reason the Suns won that game?
Poise. It was the poise on the Suns' part, Chris Paul and his teammates, and the lack of poise on the Clippers' part. And here's why I say that. Neither team was shooting well. The Suns shot 36%. They shot 4 of 20 from 3. The Clippers shot 33%. They shot 5 of 31 from 3. And both teams were playing great defense. Yeah, some of that was just missed shots. But both teams were playing incredible defense. I thought it was physical. And I give both of them a lot of credit on that end of the floor. So a lot of what it came down to, if you really look at the box score and you look at how close the game was foul shooting. And these are the 2 best foul shooting teams in the NBA. They finished 1 and 2 this year. And the Clippers were number 1. But the Clippers go to the line and they shoot 8 for 13 in the fourth quarter. They shoot 66% from the line for the game. The Suns, they go ahead and they shoot 86% from the line. Chris Paul, 6 of 7. Devin Booker, 9 of 11. And they hit 7 of 8 in the fourth quarter. Look at the Clippers. Paul George was like, what he go from the free throw? 12 of 18. An 85% foul shooter. He misses 6 free throws. You guys know, what do they say clutch is? They say clutch is really the ability to perform in the critical moments or in the postseason like you do when it's not a critical moment or like you do in the regular season, right? If you play as well in the playoffs as you generally do in the regular season as a star, people say you're clutch because it's harder in those moments. So the Clippers, to me, the only explanation for you being an 84 or 85% free throw shooting team and you shooting 66% in a game?
Sounds like
It's nerves.
Sounds like
Nerves.
Okay.
Lack of poise. Choke. Whatever.
Okay, thank you,
That's
Chris.
the difference. The Suns had poise. The Clippers did not. I know it's not the sexiest answer in the world, but that's what it came down to.
I like it.
Poise?
Chris.
What are you talking about? The one thing neither team had was poise.
Yeah.
Neither team had any poise.
I
It was devoid of poise. Sorry.
At the foul line, they have
That's not poise. That's either choke or not choke.
Choke. I thought both teams, for a 5-minute stretch, started to feel the pressure because they knew the magnitude and the gravity of this ball game. Because we got an entirely different series if the Clippers win this ball game. You hold a team to 84 points in your building, Chris, you got to win this ball game. When you hold their two best players to 14 of 44 shooting, you've got to win this ball game. And all the things that you mentioned, they set a record for the best free throw shooting percentage team in all of basketball, and they shoot 65%. That ain't got nothing to do with fatigue. That ain't got nothing to do with anything else other than you feeling the pressure of that moment and them knees start to shake. Skip Bayless, now I didn't read all the stats, but Skip Bayless told me this was the best free point percentage team. And then what happened? How y'all shoot 16%?
5 of 31.
Yeah.
Impossible.
So it tells me that moment because you could and Paul George. Chris, I told you, Chris, you got on that bandwagon too soon. Now you dropped side the road, broke down with him, waiting on me to come and give you a ride and scoop you up. But I'm going to be AAA. I'm going to give you a ride. And I told you, play our Pete. I told you polyester Pete. When the pressure got on and you saw it again. Chris, how many shots did he miss? With a chance to tie the game or take the lead. How many free throws did he miss? In that moment, that don't tell me anything. Because I've seen guys, I've played with guys, make one-handed catch. That was before the tactified glove, Skip. They reach up and catch it like this here, and all behind their head, between their legs, and come for a quarter. What I got? What you got? The same thing that you had in the first quarter when you caught them off. That's what you got. That pressure got to both teams, but one team handled it just a little bit better than the other team. But I felt that both teams started to succumb to it, but your team, man, they just Skip. They just pulled their pants down and just made a mess of themselves.
Okay. So I will give you this. In the end, the Phoenix Suns choked a little bit less than the Clippers choked. Okay. A little bit, but only a little tiny bit. And this team, this Clippers team, is simply the most frustrating team I have ever tried to root for. That game on Saturday night was simply the most excruciating game I've ever tried to root home. Because I'm going to remind you, once again, the Clippers fell impossibly behind early third quarter. It was 52-36. Remember in Dallas, it was 30-11, right out of the box, and they're down 2 games on a Friday night game 3. Remember
Look at
that?
the Utah series, they were down 25.
They've been doing it the whole season, but in the third quarter, impossible. In fact, I tweeted at 52-36. The Suns are just too good to come back on the way they did Utah.
I'm feeling pretty good.
And here they came, and they scratched and they clawed, and I look up and I say, they're right in this game again. It's impossible, but they did it again. Yeah. And then we get to the fateful moment with 10:07 left in the game, and there's a technical foul on Devin Booker, so Paul George has been fouled, so he's going to get 2, but he's going to get the tech first. And he goes up and just swishes the technical free throw.
No pressure.
And then his first one of the 2, nothing but net. And then the third one, all of a sudden, you can tie the basketball game. It can be 71 all if you make this third one. And it is up, and it is a little short and a little out. And I fell on the floor. I said, you can't miss that one. That's the statement free throw where you say, we have climbed all the way back and caught you. You are in trouble in our building. And from that moment on, would you believe that the Clippers that I have applauded, the Clippers I have stuck with through thick and thin, would you believe that they went 0 of 12 on shots down the stretch to either tie or take the lead?
Yes, I believe it.
That is the most in a fourth quarter, most in any game in the last 25 years of the playoffs. It's impossibly bad. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Phoenix was almost just as bad because Phoenix kept saying to the Clippers, you take this, you take it. We don't want that. You take it, you take it, you take it. And the Clippers kept saying, we just throw up all over the floor. We don't want it. We can't take it. We don't got it tonight. And I was rolling on the floor. I'm screaming bad words. It's impossible. You can't miss that many shots. I said, please, just make one. Just make 1 3. If you make 1 3, maybe the tide turns. Maybe the momentum swings wildly in favor of the home team because the onus was on the home team. Obviously down 2 games to 1. It's your building, your crowd. For a Clippers crowd, it was pretty wild in there. And I thought, this is your time and your turn. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I tweeted. This is about 8 minutes left in the game. In the middle of this pathetic run where they couldn't make a shot, I tweeted, I'm sorry, but my man Paul George is choking his guts out. So don't accuse me of not being objective when it comes to pandemic P. That was pandemic all over again. You can ridicule him, you can dismiss him, you can condemn him all you want today because he deserved it. He had every chance to take that game back for the Clippers, and he could not close it.
You can't, Chris, in the regular season, teams were 22-0 while keeping an opponent to 84 points or less. 22-0. They were 3-0 in the regular season. You're at home. You got to win that game. You just held Devin Booker. You've had Devin Booker again to a horrible shooting night. You've held Chris Paul again to a horrible shooting night.
Phoenix is begging to get beaten. You've
got to win that game. And what happened right on cue, you get dressed up. It's like a child. You get him dressed up, and the moment you get him dressed up, he all of a sudden want to go eat something and spill something on the Sunday suit. That's just like you.
And it's one of those.
Yeah, I got my Easter suit. Cause I knew it was gonna be special. I knew today was gonna be special. I'm gonna have me a good time.
I think there's some premature celebration.
I'm just saying it was my birthday Saturday.
Okay.
The Phoenix Suns didn't know that, but they gave me one of the best gifts somebody's ever given me that didn't know me.
The Clippers gave you the gift. Yes.
But you know what? That's all right. I'm not going to count my chickens. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm surprised you didn't look at the refs.
He did.
I've done that. I was just getting ready to. Go ahead. Be my guest.
Okay. Well, no, it was look, there was a similar play, remember, in game 2.
I got it.
When Patrick Beverly knocked it off Devin Booker's hand. There was one that was just like that. It looked like it was almost the exact same situation.
It was.
They didn't look at it.
Yep. This is 7.8 seconds left.
Batum, Payne, I think?
It's Batum off Cameron Payne.
Batum and
it's still on his hand, and it goes out of bounds. Last to touch the ball, Cameron Payne. Clippers are only down 1. They deserved a chance. As poorly as they played, they at least deserved a chance to redeem themselves.
Well, how about this, Chris? What about it should have been called a technical foul?
And the other one,
because when
the other one, I thought at the end.
Go ahead, Chris.
When Chris Paul.
Thank you.
Was called. They fouled Chris Paul. The double
team. It's a phantom foul. There's no foul.
They didn't touch him.
Nope, they didn't touch him.
No,
it's
and
the
it looked like
anticipated
did he travel?
foul. Yeah, thank you.
Right.
The refs anticipate a foul that is not committed. There's no foul. There's no foul. There's no contact whatsoever by Pat Bev or Batum. No contact. Chris Paul flops. He falls flat. He travels with the basketball, and they don't call it because it's Chris Paul, and they want him in the finals. Obviously.
Chris,
there's no foul.
Chris, what about Paul George walking by Devin Booker and shoving him, and Devin Booker shoves him back and gets a technical call? Paul George should have been out of the ball game.
Fair.
Paul George did that. You saw that too, Skip Bayless.
I liked it, actually. It was the first sign of life I saw from the Clippers all night.
Yeah, they got the retaliation. That was Paul George did all that.
Okay, that's fine. But Chris missed one play with 58 seconds left in the game. My man, T-Man, Terrence Mann, drives it, attacks the basket, and scores it. And Bridges just hacks him across the hand as he is scoring. And
play on.
There's no call.
We're at the park.
Again,
we'll call that.
Do I know for sure he could have made the free throw?
No.
I think he could have. If he does make the free throw, all of a sudden, that 1-point game with those 2 non-calls at the end of the game would have been a tie game. I'll take that. So the ref said, no, not tonight, not tonight, not tonight. And Chris, I told Shannon, maybe the refs are just saying, you haven't earned these calls. But it's a crucial turning point playoff game. They deserved chances to redeem themselves with those 3 calls, and they did not get them. So once again, it appears to me that somebody in the league office wants Phoenix in the finals, and I don't blame them because there's no Kawhi.
Well, if you shoot 16% in the fourth quarter and you shoot 61% from the free throw line, you go 8 of 13.
By the way, 2 of those were intentional misses at the end of the
And
game.
guess why they was intentional? Would Paul George intentionally miss that second field goal had he not missed the first one, Chris? He intentionally missed the second because he missed the first one. Am I correct, Skip Bayless? Call it like you see it now.
I just did. I told you. I said choking his guts out.
Yeah,
I tweeted that. But you can look it up.
But I need you to provide context. When you say someone missed 2 free throws,
they did. Well, they count on how bad it sounds.
But why did he miss the second one on
DeMarcus
purpose?
Cousins missed one.
I ain't talking about DeMar. I ain't talking about Boogie.
On purpose.
I ain't talking about Boogie. I'm talking about your guy. I'm talking about Polyester Pete, the guy that shrinks when the heat's on.
Lay it on. I need you to go more. Condemn him.
Hold on.
I need it.
And
Go.
Reggie Jackson had 20 points on 24 shots. Paul George took another 5 of 20.
Get him out of my sight.
No. Keep him in your sight.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Reggie Jackson been saving a lot of people's legacy on the Clippers. And it's time's up. The genie's out of the bottle.
Okay, this series is over, says he. Says he.
Well,
it's over.
I ain't gonna say it's over, but I got that turkey, I got that chicken in the crock pot. It didn't cook it, and I left it on.
Really?
I just said it's gonna be done when I get home. That's all I'm saying, Chris. It's not done right now, but it's gonna be done in a little while.
Sounds like it's gonna be overdone.
No. I let that thing cook about 150. Cook it all day, Chris. That's one thing about the crock pot.
You sure you turned it on?
I left it on. That's the one thing. Cut me some onion up there. Got some carrots, some green peas, some garden peas. It's gonna be ready when I get home.
Your kitchen done burned down.
We're not wait and see on that. We're not done here, Chris. Stay with us. I want Clippers Suns Game 5 prediction next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
The WWE Thunderdome, the Rated R Superstar Edge is back and out for vengeance on Roman Reigns. Plus, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn in a last man standing match. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Cool Ranch chicken sandwich, no regret, boy. My name's guilty ranch in my
There's 100% chance of us.
Celebrate this summer with the new BLT Ranch hand-breaded chicken sandwich from Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. Feed your happy.
Let's take it slow. Slow.
Mom?
Wow. And they'll check them both for free.
Yes.
Fix Finder, the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes.
If Nathan Adrian hadn't forged his will in the fire of competition, he never would have had the courage to face his greatest obstacles. If he settled for winning 8 medals for his country, he never would have continued swimming despite a cancer diagnosis. And if he didn't push himself to train, even through treatment, he wouldn't be back on the world stage, fighting to win again. That's the fighting spirit. That's what makes a lion. Modelo, root for those with a fighting spirit.
Liberty Mutual, customized car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. How much money can Liberty Mutual save you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $808. Yep, everything hurts.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You don't always set out to be a rock star, but when the spotlight finds you, you become one anyway.
During the Ram 4th of July sales event, get $3,550 in total values. Plus, finance and get no monthly payments for 90 days on the 2021 Ram 1500.
Your mom's been posting a lot since she got that phone from Cricket.
Every day.
Here's a comment. We stan.
Oh, Mom.
You have a cool mom. More phone, more fun.
Let's get some hotcakes and, the menu suggests a cinnamon roll with your meal.
How do they know what people like? How do windmills power people's houses? How are we watching this live? Caution, objects on the road ahead. How did it know that?
We made it.
Wow, how did you find out about this place?
It's funny how you can order the same thing from childhood all the way to adulthood. The only difference is, somewhere along the way, your McNuggets become the side order instead of the whole meal. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The Clippers are on the brink of elimination following their Game 4 loss to the Suns Saturday night, but Ty Lue is optimistic that his team can bounce back from the 3-1 series deficit, saying, quote, "It's very doable." Chris Broussard is still with us. Now, Chris, I know you said that the Suns were poised in the win, but who you got who wins Game 5?
I'm with Shannon. I think Phoenix closes them out tonight. My original pick was Suns in 7, but I think they go ahead and get rid of them tonight and put the Clippers out of their misery. A lot of it, look, I think that Paul George is worn out. I think he's spent, both emotionally and physically. I think he's spent emotionally. Paul George did not sign up for this. He didn't sign up for the pressure of being the man and carrying a team night in and night out. Now, look, I know last segment he was getting ripped to shreds, but he's been pretty good these playoffs. I mean, I think he's actually helped himself in these playoffs more than hurt himself. I'm talking about overall, 26 points, almost 10 rebounds, almost 6 assists a game, leading the Clippers in rebounds and assists. But he didn't sign. He's what we thought he was. He's a second guy at best on a championship team. If he has to be your best player, then there's a cap to how far you're going, and that cap is the conference finals. And so now he's their best player, and he didn't sign up for this. The pressure of every night being scrutinized. Every night you have to deliver. Every night you got to make the free throws. He was content being Russ's Robin in Oklahoma City. He was content coming here to be Kawhi's Robin with the Clippers. Now all of a sudden he's got to be Batman? And look at his, and he's played 41 minutes a night. He's played by far more minutes than anyone else in the playoffs. So I'll give him credit for that, but that's why I think he's spent. And his field goal percentage is going down further and further by the game. Game 2, 43%. Game 3, 35%. Game 4, 25%. I mean, so I don't know what he's going to shoot tonight.
10.
But I think the Clippers are done. Now, that might be good news for Clippers fans because I've been wrong on them this whole postseason. But I do think Phoenix closes them out tonight.
Close the door. That Teddy Pendergrass song, you remember that song, Chris? We were growing up, Teddy says, close the door. He said, I'm what you've been looking for. Skip Bayless. Ty Lue is right if he had LeBron, if he had Kyrie. If he had Kawhi, he wouldn't even be in this situation. I believe if he had Kawhi, he might be 3 up. Because I do not believe the Suns are beating the Clippers without Chris Paul twice if Kawhi's in the lineup for the Clippers. So I will concede that, but he's not there. Welcome to the club. Where you don't have your big guns. I feel very comfortable saying, had we been healthy, Lakers going to the finals. You feel that way too, huh, Chris? But anyway, back to our originally scheduled programming. See, the one thing that Ty Lue failed to mention, that in that game 5, LeBron had 41, 16, and 7. And Kyrie went for 41, 3, and 6. And then in game 6, LeBron went for 41, 8, and 11. Now, I want you to tell me who on this team for the Clippers, what two players are capable of giving you 82 points? Oh, that means, okay, can you on then? So
is it my turn?
No, it's not your turn.
Okay.
So, doable. Skip anything, put man on the moon. Anything possible. We came out with a vaccine for COVID in less time than any virus that we've ever created, that's ever been created. So anything's possible. But let's talk about likely. Let's talk about probability, because that's what we like. We analytics guys up here, Chris. We do analytics. What's the probability of it happening? You ain't gonna put no money on it. You won't bet a thing. Not one single case or do.
I'll take 5.5. I'll take 5.5 points. That's what Fox Bet says it is. I'll take 5.5 for 5 cases. Going once, twice, no guts, no glory.
Maybe by the end of the show.
So they are done. But you won't give me the 5.5 that Vegas and Fox Bet says this game is.
I give you 5 because I want no half.
I'm 5.5.
No, Skip.
5.5. That's what it is.
Skip, you can't get
you
no
either
half.
Take the spread or you don't take it.
How do you get half a point?
You can't walk up to the betting window in Vegas and say, give me 5 instead of 5.5.
Oh, you the betting winner now, so now you the house again, huh?
Okay, now it's my turn. You guys are almost certainly right about everything you just said. Obviously, these Clippers have played from the bottom of a sinkhole throughout this playoffs, and they were the first team ever to come from 0-2 down in consecutive playoff series. But to your point, they had their best player. They had Kawhi Leonard. And when it was time to rise and shine, Kawhi took over those 2 games at Dallas, games 3 and 4, and you know the rest of the story. I'm with Chris. It's very possible that fighting uphill and Paul George playing by far the most minutes of any player in these playoffs, it's very possible he and his teammates have just run out of psychological gas. They keep fighting from up until finally they say, we just can't fight anymore. But I'll remind you what Chris Paul said live on, what was it, ESPN on Saturday night? Yes. Live on ESPN right after the game, I'm just going to paraphrase, but he said something to the effect of, them boys just won't quit over there. They won't. No. They just won't quit. So what does my eye test tell me about the games I've seen so far?
Clippers aren't that good.
First game, it's pretty close. It went down to a bizarre Rondo defensive gaffe.
Oh, now you blaming Rondo on the whole series.
Well, somebody blamed him besides me because he ain't played anymore since then. And then game 2, it came down to a blown referee call off Ayton's fingertips. If you rule that correctly, the game is over and the Clippers are up 2-1 right now. You know it and I know it. And then we saw 3 referee blunders down the stretch of game 3 on Saturday night at Staples. And you say, well, wait a second. These teams are very evenly matched. And I think the Clippers have no fear of playing back in Phoenix tonight. So to me, I weirdly believe that the Clippers will do what the Clippers do, the hardest way possible. And now it's even harder to me than 0-2 down. They're down 3-1. But all they need to do, they know, and Ty Lue will instill this belief in them. If they go pull this game out, they get to go home, and all of a sudden the pressure is just swinging hard onto the Phoenix Suns. And you say, well, Paul George has never done this, never done that. Well, what's Chris Paul done in his career? Help me out.
Not gag like polyester.
Okay, well, I don't know about that. I don't know. Has Chris Paul ever blown any 3-1 leads in his career?
Yeah, he has. And he mentioned that too.
He did.
And leave him alone about that.
Thank you very much.
Has Paul George ever had a 3-1 lead? Mention that.
No. Has Devin Booker ever been in a position to close out a playoff? No, he hasn't like this.
He in position now.
Okay.
He in position now.
DeAndre Ayton's just trying to figure all this out. It's going to be all different tonight.
But I want to know what our excuses, because last year, when everybody was talking about PG, when he was cracking on Dame Lillard, you remember, Chris, do you remember in the bubble when Dame missed those free throws? if somebody was on the sideline with Pat Beverly rolling over. I thought it was game time. That was Paul George. You see what happens, give karma. You know karma funny like that. Sometimes they say you go get your karma in the afterworld, but sometimes karma's like Amazon Prime. They'll deliver that thing to you the next day. You see what happened to him, Chris? Now look at him. He gets to the free throw line in the fourth quarter like a bridge in an earthquake, just wobbling.
You know who he's reminding me of? He's reminding me of LeBron James.
Why are you talking about LeBron? LeBron ain't here.
The worst superstar late game free throw shooter I've ever seen. It's not even close as LeBron James.
No.
Look at the stats.
Paul George.
Look at the stats.
Paul George.
Well, he's not a superstar.
What
Are we putting Paul George and LeBron in the same sentence? Thank you. Paul thanks you.
You better stop that.
You know what? I believe Paul George is going to have a good game tonight. I'm not going to say a great game, but a good game.
He's going to take whatever game he has, he's going to take 28 shots.
Yeah, I just bet you the Clippers won't shoot 5 of 31 from 3.
And I bet you the Suns won't play as bad as they did. You going home. You going home.
I'll take 5.5 right now for 5 cases. You want it?
Well, this
you talk big, but you don't bet
I don't
big.
know if you're going on a plane to St. Paul, a boat to Bermuda, or a kayak to wherever. But you're getting up out of the playoffs. You're going home tonight, buddy. We've been held it. We hold the plane. We can't hold it any longer.
You won't have the Clippers to torture you anymore on this show? Because they've been just tormenting you. You want this so badly, and you're not going to get it.
You know what? Skip, you say you do this all the time. I really would like to know when Paul George missed that free throw and Steve Ballmer hit that dead president like Rev did sitting on that couch and he dropped his head. I wonder what Steve Ballmer was thinking. That man worth $85 billion. And he's like, I gave up all of this for that? That's what he said, Chris. All my money, all them draft picks, Gilgeous Alexander, Gallinari, first pick after first pick. I had the Heat first round pick in 21 and this year and 2023. And all those picks, he ain't got no picks until 2030. Some 7th grader. They can go get some 7th grader. That's what he thinking. Yo, guy,
I'll give you this. Look, this loss is going to kill the Clippers. Because you're right. They can look back and say, we should have won game 2.
Yeah, they should have.
We blew them out in game 3. And obviously, game 4 was there for the taking. Anybody could have won that. And they're down 3-1 instead of potentially being up 3-1 or at least 2-2. If they lose tonight, they're not going to be able to live with themselves for a while. They're going to look in the mirror and say, man, we blew that.
And you assuming you're under the assumption that Kawhi's going to walk back through that door next year. What happens if Kawhi and Uncle Dennis take that show on the road?
I'm not assuming that at all.
Chris? What happens if Uncle Dennis and Kawhi goes to the highest bidder?
They well might.
And then what is Paul George going to be then?
Well,
this is the reason why Paul George
wouldn't look at.
Everybody keeps talking about Paul George didn't want to join LeBron. Can you imagine the pressure that? See, he gets a little pass now because it's the Clippers. Can you imagine him playing like this for the Lakers? Can you imagine that Chris Broussard, that Paul George, Polyester Pete, is gagging. That's why he didn't want that pressure. Don't let him fool you. He got glossed over in Indiana because ain't nobody watching Indiana but Hoosiers. That's the only basketball they care about. And then he goes to OKC. Ain't nobody thinking about that. That was Russ. Everybody blame Russ. You know what? Russ been a shield for a lot of people. I ain't gonna say call everybody's name, but Russ has been a shield for a lot of people. Chris Broussard and they put
Kevin Durant.
I ain't say no name.
Who went straight to Golden State and went back-to-back Finals MVPs. Thank you.
All I said is Russell Westbrook has been a shield. Now Paul George is where he is, and he's doing the exact same thing. I got some interesting stats for him. We're gonna do a story. Chris, I wish you was coming back, but I will share it with you a little bit later.
How would you like to see the guy that Paul George shamed be his teammate next year, and that would be Damian Lillard?
Hey. I know where Dame wants to go, but that ain't none of my business. I am not at liberty to speak on that.
Really? Maybe he doesn't want to play with LeBron.
Why you got to bring LeBron? You notice that, Chris? Every time something good about to happen, he bring it up. He want bad. Why you wish bad on people like that?
I'll take 5.5 for 5 cases right here, right now.
Let me think about it.
Let me think about it. You've been talking about it for the last 2 hours.
ODA might put on some feet out.
I'm going to remind you, the Clippers have not been blown out one time this whole playoffs. Atlanta got blown out by 39 the other night. Milwaukee.
We're not talking about Atlanta.
Yeah,
We're
well,
talking about your guy.
We are not. Chris, thank you for joining us. Great, great stuff. And Shannon over there concealing information. You got the inside scoop. You won't share it. Well, speaking of LeBron, actually, does he really have the most clutch Game 7 performance of all time? Let's talk about it next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Hi, Verizon launched the first 5G network, and now we want to be the first to give everyone the joy of 5G by giving every customer a new 5G phone on us. Old customers, new customers, families, businesses, in-laws, law firms. Every customer, new 5G phones when you trade in your old ones. And if you're not a customer, we'll help cover the cost to switch. Just ask Wanda. She's been with us since now. Upgrade your phone, upgrade your network.
I tried a laxative that's both gentle and fast.
Great tasting Dalgalac soft chews works naturally with the water in your body in as little as 30 minutes. Puts you comfortably in control. Dalgalac soft chews. When technology is easier to use.
Here we go!
Barriers don't stand a chance. That's why we'll stop at nothing to deliver our technology as a service.
It's my time to come alive.
We made USAA insurance for members like Martin, an Air Force veteran made of doing what's right, not what's easy. So when a hailstorm hit, USAA reached out before he could even inspect the damage.
That's how you do it right.
USAA insurance is made just the way Martin's family needs it. With hassle-free claims, he got paid before his neighbor even got started. Because doing right by our members, that's what's right. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
Welcome to the McLaren Formula One Q&A. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Zach. Can we meet Lando?
Can we bring Lando on stage?
Hi everyone, it's Lando.
It's Lando.
Lando, who has the best fans? England, Germany, or France?
I don't know, what do you guys think?
Let's put up a poll.
Come on, England.
Germany.
With WebEx, McLaren F1 team fans get even closer. Let's go racing. Introducing the WebEx Suite, driving hybrid work.
Hey, the bug lady's here.
Every corner, crack, and crevice.
So dedicated to her craft. I'm a craft.
I've always wanted to do that.
Next round on me.
At Loan Depot, we know home means everything. As America's lender and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball, we fund more than 30,000 home loans each month, saving you money and providing mortgage solutions that are personalized, convenient, and fast, and tailored to the most important home team of all, yours. Give us a call at 844-751-LOAN or visit us online today. Loan Depot, home purchase, home refinance, and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball.
Gillette Pro Glide. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke. So you're ready for the day with a fresh face for a fresh start. For a limited time, get a 5th cartridge free.
Well, tonight on FS1, the biggest soccer tournament of the year wraps its group play as Bolivia battles Leo Messi. But we also have the All-Star game wrapping up. So I swapped up those graphics, guys. Leo Messi tonight, always amazing in action, putting on a show, and I'm looking forward to watching that one later, 7 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. But back to the show. Bleacher Report recently ranked the most clutch Game 7 performances since 2000, and the list includes incredible games by KD, Kobe, and Steph. But LeBron's 2016 performance against the Warriors came out on top. Besides his memorable block on Iggy, LeBron became the first player with a triple-double in Game 7 of the NBA Finals since James Worthy did it in 1988. So, Shannon, I'm just assuming here that you agree with this.
Won't you write down over there? Ain't nothing to write down. It's already done.
I got a lot.
It is already done.
You want me to go?
No, I don't want you to go. Everything that you could possibly be writing down, you can't change history. Skip, you know that's why I got a minor in history? Because it's already happened. There's nothing that can do to change. I got a minor degree in history. Because I
So did I.
Yes.
I did.
And I need to know.
Huh. I was
Yes.
cum laude at Vanderbilt. Who knew? I don't know how.
Thank you, Lord.
I'm just some public school kid from Oklahoma City. I don't know how I did that.
I went to a public school in Glenville.
Yeah. Okay.
You were from Idlewild. You from Idlewild, Oklahoma. Stop talking about you from Oklahoma City. But anyway, Skip, look. Are you surprised by this, Skip? But see, this is what I've started to notice. LeBron James is the only superstar that no matter what he does, everybody wants to focus on. Because eventually you're going to go back to 2011. You're going to go back to the Mavs series. You're going to go back to his first time around in Boston. But they said playoffs, and they're talking about this Game 7. Game 7, 2016. Now, Jenny mentioned that he was the first guy to have a triple-double in a Game 7 since James Worthy. But what she didn't mention, he's the first guy in NBA history to lead a final series in every statistical category. Points, rebound, assists, blocks, steals. He did that.
And they lost.
And they won. Remember 2016? They came back from 3-1. The first team in NBA history to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals. Go James did that. He did that. And then we followed up with Game 2013. Skip, you remember? You see, you like to focus on the Game 6 and the shot that Ray Allen hit. And he turned the ball over. These are so uncharacteristic. He was just coughing it up right before y'all. Like, LeBron, what are you doing? What about Game 7?
What I thought.
But I thought about Game 7. 37, 12, and 4, and 2, and a 95-88. But while you bull-jiving, Skip, theoretically, he could have a couple of more spots. Now, he got some honorable mention. That 2018 first round, 45, 8, and 7 against the Pacers. Eastern Conference semifinals, 45, 6, and 5. They lost that one. But then he did this number on the Celtics, too. 35, 15, and 9, and 2 blocks in the last time around. So I'm not surprised by this, and neither should you.
So, all you blind witnesses out there led by the man across from me, there's only one point you should take away from this ranking.
What is it?
Not once in 6 finals did Michael Jeffrey Jordan ever even need a Game 7.
Since 2000.
He didn't need a Game 7. I got it since 2000, but he didn't need Game 7. So if you ranked the 90s, they'd say, well, he didn't register because he didn't even play Game 7.
You see what you did, Skip? All they did, they say since 2000. KD, there's a lot of team guys that's been in Game 7 in the playoffs.
So this is quite misleading because actually LeBron wins this ranking by default because since 2000 we've only had 4 finals Game 7s. So there aren't many to pick and choose from. And I know you can pick and choose from earlier rounds.
Thank you.
But the top of the list is going to be the finals Game 7s, right?
Okay.
So what do we see so far? Well, in 2005, my Spurs beat the bad boy Pistons in 7 games, but nobody's going to register for my Spurs because they do it as a team. They don't have a solo star. So Duncan had 25, Manu had 23. He had a big fourth quarter, but that's not going to vault him up the list because he's Manu Ginobili. He's not LeBron James. And then we had Lakers over Celtics in a Game 7 in 2010.
Who's on that team?
Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
But that's Game 7. He shot 6 of 24 from the floor and 0 for 6 from 3. Well, it's going to be hard to say, well, that was better than LeBron's Game 7.
Well, right? Skip, you said, okay, obviously it's finals game. There was finals game. But you could have picked first round, second round, or the conference finals in any. So there were plenty of Game 7s you could have chose from. Choose one.
Okay.
Find one.
So they picked LeBron's 2013 Game 7 and 2016 Game 7. Well, what happened? You said it for me. In 2013, you need context. You need circumstances.
Yes.
Because down the stretch in Game 6, in his house in Miami, with the Heat, LeBron just came all apart.
No, he didn't.
Well, yes, he did. He had 3 late turnovers, but 2 of them came with 39 seconds and 28 seconds left. And they were unforced error turnovers. So I said, well, what are you doing? Kawhi just took it right away from him with 39 seconds left, and the Heat were down 2, and I thought the game's over. 28 seconds left, he throws a terrible pass that Manu picks off. The Heat were down 4, and I said the game's over. My team was up 5 with 18 seconds
And what
left.
happened?
Missed free throws.
Can you do me this? You remember when Paul George missed that free throw, and you said Ty Lue put his arm around him and said we wouldn't even been in that position had you not did what you done.
Those are 2 free throws.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. So LeBron James, they're down 10 points going into the fourth quarter. LeBron James scored 16. He assisted on another 6, so 22 of the 30 points that they scored. LeBron James had his hand in. Would they had not been in the position for Ray Allen to hit that shot had it not been for GOAT James?
He did very well up to a point, but then right on cue, he disappeared. And right on cue down the stretch, he missed 2 big threes, and the last one came with 7.9 seconds left, and you know the rest of the story. He LeBricked it, back-ironed it so badly, Tim Duncan's out of the ball game. I don't know why. And Chris Bosh goes and retrieves the offensive rebound and kicks it to Ray Allen, who hit the greatest clutch shot I have ever seen.
What about in overtime? How did LeBron do in overtime?
Well, my team was shot in the heart.
What that got to do with us?
My team could not get up off the mat for overtime or for Game 7. I don't even know how they showed up after they blew a 5-point lead with 18 seconds left. In Miami, I was there. They've got the cordons up around the court. They got the champagne on ice because the game's just flat out over. It's time for the mid-court celebration.
It's funny that you tell me LeBron James is the most mentally weak superstar, but the Spurs, led by Greg Popovich and had Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward to ever play the game, they were mentally shot.
Well,
they couldn't get
Tim Duncan almost went 6-0 in the finals, except for that blunt.
Almost.
Yeah.
So my guy.
And that was not his fault.
And all I'm saying, Skip, even though he has the top 2, I got some other games. That game 7 against the Pacers, where he dropped 45 and 8 and 7 on them, that could be up there. Or that Eastern Conference Final, his last go around in Boston, that 35, 15, and 8, that could be up there. But I don't want to dwell on all that. What could have been
2016. Let's take a harder look at 2016.
Tell me.
Okay, LeBron James in that game at Golden State. They've got Golden State on the run, obviously. This is the night that Draymond goes fleeing into the parking lot, according to you, crying tears, calling on KD on the cell phone saying, please come save us.
Me and Draymond have made amends. I saw Draymond on Saturday.
Okay, good. That game, 7, LeBron shot 9 of 24 from the floor and 1 of 5 from 3.
Okay.
That's not great.
Whoa.
Who hit the shot to win the game?
Hold on.
I think it was Kyrie Irving.
So, Skip, you see what you did? Now, when I tell you Kawhi Leonard took all these shots, when I tell you Paul George take all these shots, all you care about is the win. Now you want to go back to man having triple-double, 27, 11, and 11. Remember, they were down by 7. He goes on a 7-0 run to tie the ball game.
Last 4:53 of that game 7 at Golden State, LeBron went 0 for 4 from the field. I don't know.
Did he hit a free throw game? Did he hit a free throw to ice it?
He hit one. He missed the first one and made the second one to make it a 4-point.
And ice the game, right? So that's what you do. So.
And by the way, with 150 left, he was credited with the most overrated block in NBA playoff history. It just was.
You got it.
I don't know if we have it or not. All I know is that J.R. Smith cut him off at the pass, cut Iguodala off at the pass, and slowed him up so that LeBron could catch up and block it from behind. It was a sneak attack block, and it's completely overrated.
One of the 3 greatest plays in NBA history right there. You watched it. That's one of the 3 greatest plays. I defy you to find one better. It's one of the 3. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's one of the 3 best.
It was a bicycle built for 2 because J.R. Smith was driving that block.
But look, see, that's the basketball IQ I'm talking about. He said, just in case Iggy want to do the up and under, look at that left hand. He ready to pounce on that one, too. He said, but you're going over with it right. I got you here, and I got you here.
If there's no J.R., Iggy just dunks it, and we're not having this conversation. We might be having an and one conversation.
You see what we do, Skip? We go to the front and we go to the back. So if you try to come out the front door, we got you. You come out the back door, we got you.
Overrated. Jordan said, I don't need Game 7s.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Did Jordan play in the 2000s? He played with Washington. Did he get to a Game 7?
He barely
played 7 games.
I want to get back to the current playoffs, who is actually still playing right now. Coming up, playoff P, though. Has he been MIA again? Where's he been?
Here we go.
Discuss next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
Todd, wait! How are you still so unsure of this, Steven? What am I supposed to do? Meet my family? Yes! Stop overthinking it, Steven! Book the bachelor party in Vegas! Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Booking a trip can feel dramatic, but with free cancellation, you can't go wrong with Hotels.com.
Hitting the road this summer? Not all 5G networks are created equal. T-Mobile covers more interstate highway miles with 5G than the other guys. T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, most reliable 5G network.
I'm David Collado, president and co-owner of Happy Howie's Dog Treats. We make all-natural dog treats, and we're growing really fast. So fast, we were maxing out production. That's why I chose the Spark Cash Card from Capital One, because I earn unlimited 2% cash back on everything I buy. Last year, I redeemed $21,000 in cash back. Seriously, $21,000, which I used for new equipment so we can feed even more dogs. Thanks to my Spark Card, we're in over 4,000 stores across the country. What's in your wallet?
You see the baby?
Yeah. How can we see her so clearly from here?
Oh, you found your dad's baby blanket.
How can I find almost anything?
You see that? Look at this one, guys.
Hey, how did you make that book so fast?
Hi, LG. Good night.
Wow. How did our home get so smart?
The Edge from Pizza Hut. It comes loaded with toppings all the way to the edge. For the crust, let's keep it real, thin, and crispy. Every bite is a masterpiece.
I really gotta get going, man.
The Edge is back. Get it before it's gone. No one outbeats the Hut.
Personal Capital wants to know, are you worried about the state of the world? How about your retirement? It's time to get a plan. Download award-winning, free professional-grade tools and take control of your financial future with Personal Capital. See if you're on track for retirement success and get financial confidence. Are you ready to take control? Join millions of others and download free financial tools today at personalcapital.com.
Wendy's only serves one kind of breakfast, a better one. So chuck your old salty egg bitch and pick up 2 of these freshly made sandwiches at Wendy's for just $4. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $4.
This is Copa America.
Copa America. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on FS1.
Okay, we know this by now, but the Clippers are on the brink of elimination following their Game 4 loss to the Suns Saturday night. Paul George clocked 40-plus minutes for the 11th time this postseason, which seems to have taken a toll on him in the fourth quarter, where he went 1 of 7 from the floor and 0 for 2 from 3. He also missed 4 free throws in the fourth and 6 in the game. Those numbers, not good. Shannon, give PG-13 a letter grade, please. Don't laugh.
I'm going to give him a grade so low it take a crane to pull it up. What's the lowest grade I can give him? And it still register. Because whatever that is, that's what he's getting. F. Look. Failure.
Okay.
And you know it too, Skip Bayless. You ought to be ashamed of yourself making me do this. All I know is this. The guy that called himself Playoff P in the game 4, fourth quarter, 1 possession game, he was 0-6 overall, 0-3 from 3. I don't even want to show you the tape anymore. Hold that tape. I don't even want to see the tape. In the fourth quarter percentage in the series against the Suns, an 89% free throw shooter, shooting 65%. Is that clutch? This is what's going to get you, Skip. I know you didn't know this, but I had to dig deep. Paul George has 11 career playoff games with at least 15 attempts. He's shooting 25% or less. That's the third most in NBA history since they started the playoffs 54-55. That's playoff P.
Okay.
That's what he's doing. That game was right there for the taking. You said it. The Suns was choking.
Bacon. Take it. Please take this game.
We don't want to take it. Paul George said, no. I got to be me. I got to be the guy that I am, the guy that I've been in the playoffs since. Now, I would concede this. Early on, when Paul George didn't have the pressure, early in his career against Indiana, and he's going against the Heat because they were expected to lose, and he could play free, he was something to behold. He was spectacular. But then he started to build, and then as you build, there comes along something called expectations. He's never been that guy since when he had expectation. Go back and check the tape the 2 years he played with Russ. Take a look at it. Take that last year when he played with alongside Kawhi. Take a look at him right now. The numbers speak for itself. But he gets an F a game for it. And anything less, he's uncivilized.
So it is my turn, and I'm going to give Paul George the same grade that I gave Chris Paul for this game, which is an F minus. F minus. Because Chris Paul is the more decorated player. He is the more highly acclaimed player. Nobody would say that Paul George is better than Chris Paul, would they?
No.
Nobody would say that.
Why are you bringing Chris Paul in this? You give him a grade on his own.
I'm going to give you perspective. I'm going to give you context here because Chris Paul in this game went 6 of 22. He went 0 of 3 from 3. At least Paul George made 1 3, right? And Paul was 5 of 20 versus 6 of 22. Actually, Paul had a little better shooting percentage from the floor than Chris Paul did. So I'm going to give them both an F minus for this game, just to keep it in perspective, because it was one of those games when nobody did nothing. You can't find me anybody on either team who really played at a high level except for Ayton's 22 rebounds. But there were so many missed shots, he probably should have had 30 rebounds, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least Paul George had 16 rebounds. At least he had 6 assists, and he had a couple of very nice feeds. But in the end, all I care about is that the Clippers, featuring Paul George, missed all 12 of their shots to go ahead or tie in the fourth quarter, which is the worst in 25 years of playoff games in the NBA.
And he took half of those 12.
He took more than half, it seemed like to me, because he just missed until I needed to miss me with that. To the point where I told you again, I tweeted in the middle of that upchuck by the Clippers. I tweeted, I'm sorry, but my man Paul George is choking his guts out. On Saturday night, his guts were made of tissue paper, not iron. Tissue paper. And he can't play any worse. He can't choke anymore.
Yeah, he can. I've seen it.
Yeah?
I've seen it. Yeah, you should go back and ask Russell Westbrook about how he did Russ in Game 5 in Utah. When he had 5 points in that ball game, so he absolutely can play worse. Well, but what I'm not going to let you do is bring Chris Paul into this. Chris Paul, they say, what was the grade on Paul George? See, you that
F minus.
No. This is all about Paul. That'll be Chris Paul. This is all about Paul George.
Co-signing on
I don't need you to co-sign. See, you that type of guy. You know what, Skip Bayless? You the type of guy. Somebody else does something and everybody else got to get punished for it. No. I used to hate when the coach said such and such jumped outside, run a lap. Why I got to run? Because he dumb and he don't remember the snap count. No, this is about Paul George getting the F because he deserved it, and you know it.
There's one game left, and it's tonight, and I'll take 5.5 right now for 5 cases.
I'll see. Let me think about it.
You had all show.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
What are you still thinking about?
You ridicule Paul George, but you won't bet against him because you know and I know it's still out there.
Because what happens, Skip, they'll get like a 12-point lead, and then you guys make a few baskets and then get it down. But you're going home. Going home.
Okay, fine. All right. You're not going to bet on it? I can't
Not yet. Not yet, Jenny. Not yet.
Not yet. All right. We got a couple more minutes here. You think on it. And this should be interesting, and I'm curious your thoughts. Did Brady just change LeBron's mind about the GOAT conversation? Don't go anywhere. You got to hear these quotes next.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy, and I won't back down.
For us, life is about winning, but it's also about playing. It's the Premier way. We don't skip a workout or a happy hour. Corona Premier is the lower-carb, lower-calorie beer for those who come to play. Make it Premier.
When Grandma suggested cookies, Kyle wasn't expecting the new Nestle Toll House Chocolate Chip Cookie Blizzard. Soft-baked chocolate chip cookies and world-famous DQ saucer, all in one treat. The good times roll when these two get together, just like G-Ma and her G-Son. Get it delivered at DQ.com.
Your mission. Stand up to moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis and take it on with Rinvoq. Rinvoq, a once-daily pill, can dramatically improve symptoms. Rinvoq helps tame pain, stiffness, swelling, and for some, Rinvoq can even significantly reduce RA fatigue. That's Rinvoq relief. With RA, your overactive immune system attacks your joints. Rinvoq regulates it to help stop the attack.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious infections and blood clots, sometimes fatal, have occurred, as have certain cancers, including lymphoma, and tears in the stomach or intestines, and changes in lab results. Your doctor should monitor your blood work. Tell your doctor about any infections, and if you are or may become pregnant while taking Rinvoq.
Take on RA. Talk to your rheumatologist about Rinvoq Relief. Rinvoq. Make it your mission. If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
This is Theragun by Therabody, the percussive therapy device that has been the secret of professional trainers, weekend warriors, and all-star athletes looking to get to their next level. Visit Theragun.com. Change the way you move.
I've always wanted to do that. Next round on me.
I tried a laxative that's both gentle and fast.
Great tasting Dalgalac soft chews works naturally with the water in your body in as little as 30 minutes. Puts you comfortably in control. Dalgalac soft chews.
Your mom's been posting a lot since she got that phone from Cricket.
Every day.
Here's a comment. We stan.
Oh, Mom.
You have a cool mom. More phones, more fun.
Have you seen the new Fox Sports app? Check this out. It's been designed so you can easily find everything that's important to you. You get all the top stories and scores, and then you tap here, and boom, you're watching sports live on Fox. You can also follow your favorite teams and players, and get all the latest news and social updates. There are even bonus cameras. It's got everything. The all-new Fox Sports app. Get it? Use it. You'll love it.
Rated R Superstar Edge is backing out for vengeance on the head of the table, Roman Reigns. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Judge Tatis Ohtani and baseball's finest face off in a Mile High Midsummer slugfest from Coors Field in Denver. It's the 2021 MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July 13th on Fox. So Tom Brady appeared on HBO's The Shop and responded to a story about LeBron saying that football players are disqualified from the GOAT debate because they don't play both sides of the ball. Well, Brady said, quote, "You can't do everything else. You can't do everyone else's job. I can't block, tackle, run, catch. I sure as hell can't run, but I can throw the bleep out of the ball." Shannon, does Brady deserve to be the GOAT?
Only if LeBron James deserves to be the GOAT. Because the argument that Skip Bayless and many others have used, Michael Jordan is unbeaten in finals. He's unbeaten in the finals. Tom Brady has 3 losses in the Super Bowl. So why isn't Joe Montana? Joe Montana has a lot of game-winning drives in the Super Bowl. So Michael Jordan doesn't have the most points. He doesn't have the most rebounds. He doesn't have any of that. So that's all I'm saying. Also, Tom Brady also said in that, 90% of what I say is not what I'm thinking. I do not believe Tom Brady doesn't think he's the GOAT. I do not believe that Tom Brady doesn't think he's the best player to ever wear helmet, shoulder pads, and cleats. I believe he believes that. I don't believe he'll say it publicly, but I believe he believes that. So my only argument is, if Tom Brady is the GOAT, and I got no problem if you say Tom Brady is the GOAT, but you can't say Tom Brady is the GOAT with losses in the Super Bowl and say LeBron can't be the GOAT in basketball because he has losses in the NBA Finals. Because if losses matter, it's Joe Montana. If not, I got no problem with it.
Yet it was LeBron James who once said no football player can be a GOAT because they don't play both sides of the ball, right?
It's hard for me to say that. And to a certain extent, Skip, I agree. It's just hard for me to look at it because someone else can do things.
Okay, so I'll use LeBron's logic against you because if that's true, then you can't blame Tom Brady for what happened in the first Eli Super Bowl because Tom did what he always does. With 2 minutes left, he drove him 70 yards for a touchdown. They went up. He hit Randy Moss with a touchdown pass to go up 14-10.
Yeah.
And then Bill Belichick allowed Eli Manning to go 75 yards against his defense for the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
Well, that's not Brady's fault.
Hold on.
You can't hold that against Brady.
Was time still on the clock? So Tom Brady got an opportunity to get the ball back, right?
30 seconds.
But that's all you need. You don't need but 30 seconds.
Okay.
I've seen Joe Montana. I've seen Tom go down there and get field goal range in 30 seconds.
Then how about the Philly Super Bowl in which Tom Brady threw for an all-time playoff record, not just a Super Bowl record, an all-time playoff record, 505 yards, and put up 33 points on a top-5 Philadelphia Eagles defense. And Bill Belichick upchucked all over the field because he allowed Nick Foles, the backup quarterback, to be Super Bowl MVP by hanging 41 on his defense that did not feature the guy who had taken the most defensive snaps during the regular season, Malcolm Butler, who mysteriously, inexplicably was in the doghouse that day. I don't have to let it go because it's hard to believe that it wasn't a little sabotagey for Brady.
Man, see, there you go with that word sabotaging.
Well, I don't know. It just, I to this day, I've still heard no explanation why Malcolm Butler didn't play.
I don't think you're going to be receiving one.
Okay.
Skip, all I'm saying is this. If you want to say Tom Brady is the GOAT, I got no problem with that. He has 3 losses. He's 7-3. But you can't use that as a disqualifier LeBron because he has losses in the finals and say Michael Jordan is the GOAT because he's unbeaten in the finals. If that's the standard for GOATs, well, Joe Montana is it.
Okay, but LeBron's gotten swept twice in the finals and he's gotten gentlemen swept 2 more times. He's just been
Joe Montana never lost to a guy that's not going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, think about that. I mean, Nick Foles. Nick Foles beat him. Nick Foles beat him in the biggest game. What guy? Joe Montana took down John Elway. He took down Dan Marino. Am I correct?
Yeah, but Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowls with 6 game-winning fourth-quarter drives. That's impossible.
How many losses he got in their games?
Okay, well, I told you 2 of them were not on him.
Okay.
You can put that one, the second Eli on him.
Okay.